From the greatest sports town in modern history, New York City. Welcome to the most exhilarating sports talk on YouTube today. The Entertainer, talking sports. So mute your device, dial your phone, and prepare yourself for the pinnacle of sports talk on YouTube. The Entertainer, talking sports. Monday nights, only on YouTube.
Stand up, New York Giant fans. What is going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great Friday night. Already getting cold. We're not taking calls yet. I love when people call when I tell them not to. Not taking calls yet. I hope everybody's having a great Friday night. Not a lot to talk about with the New York Giants today. Not a lot of current events. Of course, yesterday the news came out that the New York Giants were potentially looking into Demarcus Robinson, the free agent wide receiver from the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll see how that plays out. There was some bogus... People don't listen. There was some bogus news with the Tom Brady thing today, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit, but that's nonsense. I don't see that coming to fruition at all. All right, we're going to answer them. I guess they're just not going to stop. Hello, what's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in. What's going on, Christian? Thank you for popping in the stream. It's Thursday. My mistake. What's up, Waterflow? What's up, Kashandra? What's up, Goat Kwan? Today is Thursday, isn't it? It is. I am a lunatic. I don't know what day of the week it is. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in. Hello?
Do you think that the Giants will re-sign Leonard Williams?
Do I think that the Giants will re-sign Leonard Williams? At the end of the day, Leonard Williams is going to come down to... I think they will. I think Dave Gettleman kind of put himself between a rock and a hard place when he traded for him. He gave up the third and the fifth if he doesn't bring him back, and the third and the fourth. So I think he forced himself into this. I think the New York Giants are going to have to re-sign him. I just hope that they don't overpay. That's what I'm worried about. I don't want them to spend, $15 million a year on a 4 or 5 year contract. That's what I'm worried about. But yes, if you ask me now, yes, I think Leonard Williams will be back with the New York Giants.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else?
No.
All right. I appreciate the call. Thank you for calling in. What's going on? All right, Mister. What's up, Rogue Dog Man? Thanks for popping in the stream, buddy. I didn't even post the number yet, and I'm getting callers. I'll post the number now. That way people can get it. But what's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in.
Hello?
Yeah, can you turn the volume down in the background, please?
Got a question.
Yeah. Yeah, can you turn the volume down in the back? Okay, hopefully we get some good callers today. What's up, Bobby, man? Thanks for popping in. What's up, Gino? Thanks for popping in. Thank you to everybody for being here. I appreciate it. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in.
Hello?
Yeah, what's going on? Who's this?
King Seahawk.
What's up, King Seahawk? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good.
What's up, man? What do you want to talk about, buddy? What's up, Ryan Capel? Thank you guys for being here.
All right, so I want to say something. Where do you think Tom Brady will go?
That's a good question. Tom Brady, at the end of the day, there were some rumors that came out today about Tom Brady potentially going to the New York Giants, and that's not going to happen. I think at the end of the day, I still think he stays with the New England Patriots. But if you told me he's definitely leaving New England, I would say probably the West Coast. I would guess a big city. I would guess the Chargers or the Raiders, if you ask me now. Where's he going to end up if it's not with the Patriots? Other teams that could potentially make sense. The Colts still have some cap space. They could use a quarterback. They've said they're moving on from Brissett. But yeah, those would be my favorites.
Yeah, my opinion is that the Patriots and the Chargers are going to swap their QBs, is my opinion. I think that could happen.
You really think Rivers will end up in New England, huh?
Yes.
Huh. Interesting. What's your reasoning behind that?
I just think they're going to swap QBs. I just have this feeling that they're going to.
Anything's possible. I'd be a little surprised, but anything's possible. I personally think that New England, if they move on from Brady, will draft one, and they'll go that route. But maybe not. They could. Maybe they sign somebody to a short term deal like Phillip Rivers. I think Rivers is going to play for the Bucs, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I was about to say that because there's reports that he moved his family to Florida, so that's why I'm thinking he might be a Buck.
Yeah, the Bucs and the Colts makes the most sense for Rivers for me. We'll see. I still think Brady stays with New England. I'd be surprised if he doesn't at the end of the day.
All right, see you later.
All right, buddy. Thanks for the call. All right. What's going on? You're on live. What's going on, Rudy T? Thanks for popping in the stream. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in.
What's up?
What's going on? Who's this?
AJ.
What's up, AJ? How you doing, buddy? Big Ravens fan.
Good. I'm a B Ravens one on Discord as well. So I've been talking to you earlier today as well.
Yes.
Situation.
Yes, you were the one that came with the off-the-wall theory. By the way, thank you for being a great subscriber of mine. You came with the off-the-wall theory that you think the AFC North next year is going to have 3 playoff teams.
I could definitely see it. I think Baltimore has a really high-powered offense. The Steelers have a lot of players come back from injuries, and Baker Mayfield's going to improve in his third season. So the AFC North could definitely have 3 teams, especially considering I don't 100% trust that neither the Patriots nor the Bills, nor Texans or Titans. They're like really the 4 other teams. But right now, Bills and Titans winning their respective divisions just because I don't trust Houston. Plus, who knows if the Tannehill situation.
Anything's possible. I do not see it happening that way. We'll see what happens. With the Bills in the offseason. I still like the way the Bills are built. I like their defense. I like their running game. I think Josh Allen will improve next year. I still won't count out the Patriots whether Brady stays there or doesn't because of Belichick. The Jets could be vastly improved depending on what they do in free agency. They still have a lot of cap space. They can improve that offensive line. They might be a lot better than people think. I just don't see it. I think you'll get 2, maybe. You're not getting 3, in my opinion.
And then, who knows what's going to happen in the AFC North, especially if Judon gets re-signed. Now, Judon re-signs with Baltimore, and then I said 4. I think with the combination of Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen, the 2018 draft class is going to, with the exception of Josh Rosen, is going to come down as one of the best draft classes for quarterbacks.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Judon, I think if he stays there, he'll stay on the franchise tag. That's been the rumor there. I don't think you guys are going to sign him to a long-term deal. And the Giants might have their eyes on the Giants might have their eyes on Judon in a tag and trade. I made a video on that a couple of weeks ago. He'd be an interesting prospect for the Giants. I would not want to make a long-term commitment to him though because I believe he's 28, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's 28, 29, something like that. Plus, we already re-signed our strong safety, Chuck Clark, to a long-term deal.
Yeah, so we'll see. But anything else, buddy?
No, other than that, that's it.
All right. I appreciate
it. Off-season just around the corner. Let's see what happens.
Can't wait, man. Thank you for the call. Next call, you're on live. Thank you for calling in.
Hi.
What's going on? Who's this?
My name is Derek from Atlanta.
What's up, Derek? Thank you for calling in, buddy.
Okay.
What do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about, I'm thinking of the mindset that the Giants have to take Jared Wills because the Redskins are going to take Chase Young. And I think he needs some athleticism on that tackle side. Nate Solder is getting older now, and I don't think he can hold up against a premier pass rusher. We have to have somebody to stop that side. At least we can chip on one side if we take a athletic tackle on the other side. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Jedrick Wills. I had him going to the Giants in my first mock draft. I'm a big fan of him. I wouldn't be upset if they took him or Thomas. Ideally, I would like the Giants to trade down if they found the right partner and still get Wills or get Thomas with their first pick, whether it's at 6 or 7, being that there's going to be some quarterback needy teams behind us. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Wills. I think Wills is a very safe pick. The question is, can he play left tackle? Obviously, if you're drafting a guy that early, most people want to go with a left tackle for the blindside protection. But I think Wills is a very safe pick. Everything I've read about the guy, everything I've seen on the guy, he's good in both run and pass protection. Some people think he is going to be more of a guard than a tackle at the NFL level. That remains to be seen. But I'm a big fan of Wills. I think he could play definitely right tackle for the Giants, and some seem to think he could play left tackle. So I would not be upset at all if the Giants take Wills on draft night. The other thing I heard about the offensive line was Daniel Jeremiah, who's the same guy that kind of got us looking at the guy from Louisville, the Becton kid, now came out and said that Wirfs, I didn't do a video on it because I didn't see many reliable sources. I saw it on Reddit, but supposedly on his podcast, he said that Wirfs could be on the Giants' radar from things he's heard at the Senior Bowl. So I think it's very likely Gettleman will go O-line in the first round, but, that remains to be seen. But, yeah, I wouldn't be upset at all with Wills in the first.
Yeah, the ideal is, do you think that the Giants should draft based on how the division is drafting or just what we need?
I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, I get drafting based on the division because you're going to need somebody to block Chase Young twice a year. In terms of the Cowboys, they're a run-first team, so you want to get guys that can clog up the middle. But at the end of the day, you got to take whoever you think is going to help your team the most. You can't really focus on your division. But you look at what Gettleman's done the last 2 years. As much as he focuses on offensive line, outside of Will Hernandez, he hasn't taken an offensive lineman in the draft outside of Georgia Southwood-Jai in the 7th round last year. And you look at our offensive line, there are a lot of aged veterans. I think they got to get younger. You drafted a quarterback in the first round, number 6 overall last year. I think it makes a ton of sense to get somebody that could protect him, especially if you're bringing in Jason Garrett, to be the offensive coordinator who wants to, the Air Coryell offense, not saying he's going to be married to it, but the basic strategy for the Air Coryell offense is to throw balls down the field. Well, to be able to throw balls down the field and the wide receivers to be able to, run their routes to the full capacity, you have to be able to block. So I do think the offensive line has to be a heavy focus for the New York Giants this offseason.
All right, thank you.
You got it, man. Thank you for the call, buddy. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in. All right. Thank you to everybody for being here, by the way. Thank you guys for being the best supporters on YouTube. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, I just wanted to ask a few questions about free agency.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Who do you think is the most likely free agent to be in blue next year?
Ooh, most likely free agent to be in blue. Okay. I think McCourty. I think McCourty
I can see that.
Is a high possibility. The Giants have already been linked to McCourty. He's a New Jersey guy. I think the Patriots probably let him go. Obviously, Joe Judge, if you go back and look at some of the things he said about McCourty, he's very high on him. He said he's one of the best all-around players in football. He's a special teams guy as well. So Joe Judge definitely thinks very highly of him. We could use some experience in the secondary. And if you get McCourty on a 2 or 3 year deal, which is what I think you'd get him on, the ability to get out after 2 years, I think he makes a lot of sense. He brings some veteran leadership, and he's still very good. He graded at 80 per PFF. Not that I'm married to PFF, but McCourty's a good player, and I think he'd add a lot to that secondary. I think if you ask me now, at a big-name guys, not saying he's on the level of a Unique or a Conklin, but I think he is the most likely guy. McCourty, I would go with.
Yeah. If you could see either Ngakoue or Conklin on the Giants, if you got Ngakoue, would you consider a tackle a lock in the first round? And if you got Conklin, would you consider like a Simmons or an edge rusher a lock in the first round?
Yeah, if we get Conklin, it's interesting because if we get Conklin, obviously he's a right tackle. So it still leaves open the possibility if they're in love with a left tackle like Andrew Thomas, they could take him. But the thing you got there is then you still got Solder on your roster. So more than likely, you're going defense if you get Conklin in the first round, in my opinion, unless you're absolutely in love with Andrew Thomas and you look at it like, well, so we could bench Solder midway through the season, whatever it may be. But yeah, if they sign Conklin, I think you're looking at Isaiah Simmons or Okuda. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Okuda. I do think he's a possibility, not a probability, for the Giants at 4 if they don't trade down, or even 6 if they trade down, depending on what happens, after the combine and things like that. But yeah, I do. I think if we get Conklin, you're looking defense, and vice versa. I think if they spend the majority of their free agency money on edge rushers and the defensive end, you're more than likely looking at an offensive lineman. But when you look at the market for the offensive line, there's not really an offensive lineman that blows me away. McGovern's a good center outside of Conklin. Costanzo's going to be back with the Colts. I'd be surprised if he's not. So that's why I don't think they're going to get a big-time O-lineman in free agency. I could be wrong, though. But yeah, yes, if they got Conklin, I would bet that they'd be going defense in the first round.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I just have one more question. If you put yourself in Dave Gettleman's shoes, do you think both, or you could just do one of them? Who's getting signed, Marcus Golden or Leonard Williams?
Great question. Leonard Williams is much more likely because he traded for Leonard Williams. He basically, when he made that move for Leonard Williams, he basically committed himself to Leonard Williams. So I'd be surprised if Williams isn't back. I've kind of been pretty consistent with Golden from the start of the offseason. I would not be shocked at all if the Giants don't bring him back. Even though he had a great year, I like Golden. You go back, look at my video before the year started last year. I was very much in love with the Golden signing. I said he was going to lead the team in sacks before the year started. But at the end of the day, the Giants brought him in because he was a Betcher guy. Betcher's not here anymore. So, we'll see. I like Golden, but yeah, I think Williams is much more likely to be back than Golden. They both could be, but if you asked me to pick one, I would say Williams.
Okay. All right. Thanks, man. Love your work. Keep it up.
I appreciate that. Thank you for the call. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in. Thank you, everybody, for being here. What's going on, South of Heaven? Benitez, thank you for calling in. And what's going on? You're on live. Thanks for the call.
Yes, hi. I was wondering what you thought about free agency for the Giants. Do you think we should go after big names and just, try to be competitive in the division and sign some guys like we did in 2016, or do you think we just go through the draft and a nice young team for the future?
Yeah. See that's I think they kind of have to balance it. I think the Giants it's tough. They can't. I don't want them to do what Reese did in 16. When Reese went out there and he signed 3 5-year deals. I don't want that. I think that'd be a big mistake. But I'm not opposed to one big guy and then a couple of short-term contracts. Like a lot of people are against Van Noy and a lot of people are against McCourty. I'm not against that because you probably get those guys on 3-year deals with the ability to get out after 2. And if I was a general manager, my philosophy would be attractive to me. I would try to get guys on 2- and 3-year deals because I want to build my team through the draft. I want guys at free agency to fill in holes, but I don't want to commit 5-year deals. But if it's the right guy, I'm willing to do it. If Conklin, I'm probably willing to do it. But I'm not going to break the bank for that. That's what gets you in trouble in the first place. Look at the Jets. The Jets last year, they spend all that money on Le'Veon Bell. Where's that going to get them? They spend it on C.J. Mosley. Mosley gets hurt. I just don't believe in signing a lot of guys to 5-year deals in free agency. I don't think that's the way to do it. I think free agency should be used to retain the players that you drafted. And that's how you really have sustained success in the NFL. And I think the Giants got to get back to that. And I think they've started to. They've started to draft better, but they got to keep it up, and they can't go on a spending spree this offseason. You still there? Did you faint? Did you faint? I think he fainted, guys. He fainted. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, what's up, Chris?
What's going on? Who's this?
It's Gabe. It's been a minute.
Gabe, what's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
Nothing much, bro. Nothing much. But I have to call in for the one time because, it's been a whole minute. It's been a whole minute.
What's up, buddy? How you been?
I've been good. All right, so let's get into the business real quick. The Giants, I've been watching some videos earlier from Mike Two Nights, I think it was. He had a video talking about who's going to be our starting right tackle. Who do you think that's going to be? Because that's like a really interesting, discussion.
Yeah, well, that's a great question. I didn't get a chance to watch the video, but I saw he made it. The starting right tackle, to me, I mean, obviously, I think Remmers is gone. I mean, if it's going to be sorted out in free agency, it would be Conklin, more than likely. Or maybe they get a veteran. I haven't looked too much into the free agency market at the right tackle outside of Conklin. Maybe they get a veteran to plug in there, or I think it'll be sorted out in the draft. And the right tackle could be Solder. Solder obviously playing the left tackle now. If you draft Andrew Thomas, Solder's probably going to be the right tackle. So my guess, it's either Solder or Conklin. I think if they get Conklin, he's the right tackle, obviously. If they don't, I think they draft a left tackle and they shift Solder over to the right.
That's true, because Solder was really bad on Daniel Jones' blind side. So imagine him on the right tackle. It might not be so bad, So you put someone in there, maybe he was talking about Nick Gates, maybe, because he's still going to be back for next year. And, we might draft, as you said, or, Conklin. Or he was bringing up also that guy from the Colts, Costanza, I think it was. He's another one that's going to be a free agent, and he's a possibility. So I was just really, thinking about it, because, that's something that the Giants need to look for this season. If they want to get, the passing game going with the Air Coryell offense, with Barkley, if the open holes for him. But, yeah,
Yeah, no, to me, the offensive line is paramount this offseason. That is the number one for me. I know the defense needs to be improved. The defense is not good. And that needs to, it has to be an equal focus. But the offensive line is very important this offseason. You have to set your quarterback up with the right foundation to start his career. And they got to get that sorted out, man. And you look at that unit, they're all old. They've got to get younger. And I think they have to pay heavy focus in the draft to the offensive line as well as the defense. I think both are obviously very important.
Yeah, true. And one last thing. If you were to trade down, say the Chargers were to move up maybe, or I don't know, maybe the Dolphins, what would you want in return? How many picks would you want, and would they be in the first round, second round, or would you consider even a first rounder for next year's draft? How would you do things if you were Dave Gettleman,
If I was Dave Gettleman, in terms of what? Looking to find trade partners?
Yeah, basically, say if the Chargers were to try to move up, what would you want from them?
I mean, bare minimum would be what I said in my video. I would want the 6th, the 37th, which is their second round pick, and a future second. That would be my asking price from the start. I would try to get more than that, but that would be my minimum. I would want 2 seconds along with the swap. That's what I'd be looking at with the Chargers. Maybe I try to get an extra third or fourth out of it, but that's what I'm looking at.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's the Panthers, it's probably something pretty similar.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to go away with a few last words. I'm going to do it for Shimon. Shawty came from Mexico. She knows she got the sweet stuff. Playboy Cardi's the GOAT. And I'll see you later, Chris. Thanks for accepting my call, bro.
You got it, Gabe. Thank you for the call. I don't know what I love Gabe. I love Gabe. I don't know what he just said. I have no idea what that was. I don't know if that was lyrics or whatever it may be that all the young cats listen to now. I don't know, but good job, Gabe. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in.
Yo, what's up, Entertainer? How you doing?
What's up, man? How you doing, buddy? Who's this?
Pretty good. This is Nick. I called in last time about talking about Andrew Thomas or Simmons, but my question is, I don't know if you saw, but I saw the report today that the Lions were looking to move Stafford and are listening to offers for Stafford. Do you think if they do trade him and then they suddenly take a quarterback, could they possibly get one of the firsts from, two firsts from Miami to move up if they get nervous that, someone will try and jump them for that QB?
Yeah, you were breaking up a little bit there, but I think what you basically asked me was the Lions and trading for Stafford. Do I think that that's a legitimate trading Stafford? Do I think that's a legitimate possibility? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, and then if they do, and then they take a QB, do you think we'd be able to get maybe 2 firsts from Miami if they get nervous?
Okay. All right. Well, the way I look at it is, all right. Let's just say the Lions take who do you think they would take? Tua or Herbert?
Herbert, Tua, whatever. If they might get nervous if the Chargers might try and leapfrog them to get whoever's left.
Anything's possible. I mean, there's tons of rumors out there right now. Most of them are bogus. I really do not think the Lions will draft a quarterback because Stafford's still making a lot of money. I could be wrong. But if they were to take a quarterback, I mean, I don't think the Lions are giving up 2 firsts to jump from 4 to 5. Personally, the Dolphins rather. But it's possible. The Chargers. I mean, at that point, you try to you hold them over a barrel. You try to get as much as you can between the Chargers and the Dolphins if they both want a quarterback. But I would be surprised. I really would if the Lions take a quarterback. I just don't see it. Stafford's, but you never know. But I would be surprised. I'd give it maybe a 5% chance. I think the Lions are going to trade down. I think the Lions are. If I had to guess right now, I think the Lions trade with the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins go up to 3 and they get Tua. That'll be my next mock draft more than likely. Tua will be they'll be moving up to 3 to get Tua.
That makes sense. Also, one last thing. After the national championship, if they do make a run and get Conklin, if he does go free agent, do you think Simmons is the play there? Or, I mean, if Okuda's available, who would you go with between the two of them? I mean, I think we've done so much. We drafted so many corners last year that I think if they do sign Conklin, you have to go Simmons at 4.
I would go Simmons. If we got Conklin, I would go Simmons. If we signed Conklin, I would go Simmons. Probably, I would try to trade down before anything, but I would go Simmons. But I wouldn't be upset with Okuda. But I would go Simmons. I agree with you. I think we've invested a lot in the corner the last couple of years. I would go Simmons if we got Conklin. Now, that's going to be the other interesting thing to cover is what Tennessee decides to do because they've got Tannehill, they've got Henry, and they've got Conklin, all set to hit the open market. More than likely, they're not going to be able to keep all 3. So if Conklin becomes available, then it's going to be a bidding war because every team that has cap space is going to try to get this guy, whether it's the Jets, whether it's the Giants, whether it's a number of teams. A lot of those teams with a lot of cap space. He's going to be very sought after. We'll see. I would love to get Conklin. I think he's great. You look at what he did last year. He's one of the best offensive linemen in the sport. He's a great run blocker. Yeah, you got to worry a little bit about the injury history, but we're trying to build this team around Saquon Barkley. He would be a great addition. I would love Conklin. He's the one big guy that I want.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. We'll keep doing what you're doing, man. I love your channel. Have a good one.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you for the call, buddy. Thank you for being a great subscriber. And what's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in.
Stand up, the entertainer.
What is going on, John Letourneau? One of my best, man. What's up, buddy? Big God, you're an Eagles fan, though. That's not good.
Well, how you doing, my friend? Long time no talk, man. How you been, man?
I'm pretty good, man. What's going on, buddy? You ready for the? You getting ready for the draft?
Yeah, I'm getting ready for the draft. I'm hoping that the Eagles get one of these wide receivers. I'm not sure who they're projected to get, but I'm hoping that we get somebody decent to help D-Jack, for next year.
There is
somebody
a lot.
Can take the top off.
Yeah, there is a lot of really good wide receiver prospects in this year's draft, and I do think you guys are going to go wide receiver. And you guys haven't gone wide receiver in a really long time in the first round, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's been a long time, yeah.
Yeah, and if you had to pick the type of receiver you'd want the Eagles to get right now, would you want a burner like a Ruggs, or would you want more of a 50-50 guy like Jefferson? Well, would you prefer the burner?
I would like a burner.
Yeah.
That's what I want right now.
Yeah, you want a guy that could take the top off the defense.
Yeah.
I do not want you guys to get Ruggs. That guy is a special talent. He's going to run like a 4.2 440. I am hoping and praying that he does not fall to you guys in the draft. I don't want to have Deshaun Jackson reincarnated again in his prime. I don't want that. I hope you guys do not get him.
I know you don't want that, but we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to seeing the. I'm going to tell you right now, Chris, that it's going to be Giants and Eagles next year fighting for this division.
Really?
More than Dallas. Yeah, I think that I have a. Your Giants are going to have to come up. You know what I'm saying? They've been having a hard time for the last
6-7 years, they're going to make a turn, and I think they're going to be Daniel Jones is going to help y'all get somewhere, and I think this coach may have a good season next year. I think Dallas is going to drop a little bit, in my opinion. It's just my opinion because the way they have this talent this year and they couldn't win a division, especially with Cooper not playing, like sitting on the bench on a game where they had to win. You know what I'm saying? So that doesn't look good for Dallas and Dak not being signed. So I think it's an opening for the Giants to sneak in there to fight us for the division, in my opinion.
I hope you're right, man. It's been a long time since the Giants had, any kind of, relevant games late in the season. I do think the Giants are going to be much improved this year, but I'm not going to discount the Cowboys. I still think the Cowboys have a really good team. But I do think the Giants will be much more competitive this year. I don't want to get people overexcited. I don't want to have outlandish expectations. We still have a very young defense. We've got a young coaching staff. We got a second-year quarterback. We got a lot to work on. But I do think the Giants will be improved next year. I really think 2021 is the year where the Giants are going to really have a really good shot at winning that division. But I like the direction of the team. I've liked the direction of the team for a couple of years. I think they've drafted well. I just think that they're in the middle of a rebuild. And when you're in the middle of a rebuild, you have to be patient. And that's what New York fans hate to be, but that's what I think we have to be. I think that's our only choice right now. And I do think the Giants are headed in the right direction. I like the direction of the team. I just hope that they continue that path and they don't do anything silly this offseason, which I don't think they will.
Right. In my opinion, I hope they don't. In my opinion, I hope the Giants stay where they're at, No pun intended, but because, the Eagles, we need to do something next year because But what should scare you a little bit is that how even though the last 5 games or whatever were all against division and our division sucked last year, for Wentz to go through and do what he did has to scare you a little bit because we had no name receivers for the last 5 weeks of the year, and we made the playoffs and we pulled it out. So that must scare you a little bit, even though we have back-ended contracts and stuff that we have to deal with this cap and stuff like that. But you should be a little bit scared about potentially how we could be next year. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying we will, but I'm just going off of.
Well, no, I mean, the Eagles, and what's going on, Coffin? What's going on, John Adams, Ligma? Thank you guys for being here. Christian Colon, thank you guys for being here. No, I mean, last year, I will say this about your team. Your team sustained a lot of injuries, but you do have a team that I think has a lot of injury-prone players. But, yeah, if you guys stay healthy, you guys have a very good football team. I'd still be a little bit concerned about your future based on your cap space situation for the, down the line, but next year, if I'm being honest and fair, the Eagles have a better football team than we do. You guys, you and the Cowboys are still the class of the division next year, if I had to guess. But right. I think the Giants will start to make moves, and they'll. I think by 2021 they're going to be able to challenge for that division. That's my mindset right now. That's my mindset.
One other thing before I go. What do you think of the Phillies' chances of and the Mets for next year? Because I'll tell you our starting lineup. We have McCutchen, we have Harper, we got Hoskins. They're going to put Kingery for third base, which I don't agree with. Our pitching is I don't love it. I mean, we have viable starters, but last year we had some pitchers and we lost a lot of one-run games and stuff like that. Do you think we may still be in the mix, or do you think we'll probably be like third? Drop to third in division. What is your thoughts? Yeah.
Real quick on the baseball, which I can't wait for. Opening days in about 6 weeks or so. I'll tell you what, man. Our division. Obviously, I'm a Mets fan. The National League East this year is loaded. And I think it's going to come down to whoever stays healthy. That's always a big thing. But the Braves, the Mets, the Phillies, and the Nationals are all really good baseball teams. I would say the Braves right now are probably the favorite. Right. But it's a great division, and it's going to come down to health. From a Mets perspective, it's going to come down to the bullpen. It's probably the same for you guys. Your pitching in general is going to be your X factor. But I think health is going to have a lot to do with it for all the teams in the division. I think it's going to be a great year, though. I think it's going to be a very competitive race. I think it's the best division in baseball. And I can't wait to see how it plays out in the National League East. I think it's going to be a really fun year.
That's what I'm hoping. And Chris, like always, you are the man, man. Keep doing what you do. You're a Giants guy. I love you, brother. You and Bad Dog are the best YouTubers by far in the sports community, in my opinion. But you're Giants fans. I let that go, but y'all the best. Keep it up. And stand up, the entertainer.
I really appreciate that, man. Thank you for the call, buddy.
All right, bye.
Have a good one, my man. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in.
I'd run through a wall for Joe Judge. What about you?
I would run. Whoa, you'd run through a wall. What kind of wall? We're talking about a steel wall, a brick wall.
Every wall.
I wouldn't, just because my bones are a little more brittle than they used to be. If I was younger, I'd probably run through a wall.
Yeah.
But no, I'm a huge Joe Judge fan. I think Joe Judge is. Listen. I'm not gonna jump. I'm trying to remain patient, but everything I've seen from Joe Judge, I like. I like his whole philosophy. I like what he's done with the coaching staff. The New York Giants coaching staff is really good. So I'm excited, man, for Joe Judge. He's got that confidence about him. He's smart. Everything you hear about from former players, they're really encouraged by him. That, to me, is going to be probably the most interesting thing about this year is seeing how Joe Judge coaches this New York Giants staff. And one of the most interesting storylines is going to be to see the effect that these young coaches have on the roster.
I agree. So what do you think about our offensive line going to free agency?
Yeah, I mean, our offensive line right now going into free agency, I think that they're definitely going to spend a good portion of that money on the offensive line. Maybe not even just starters, but depth pieces, because when you look, we definitely need at least 2 or 3 guys off the bench as well. That could come in. Obviously, we still have Gates. We'll see what with George is out with Jai. We have a couple of other guys, but I think that they will spend some money on depth pieces as well as hopefully a starter or 2. I think 1 starter probably in free agency, and then probably draft at least 1 in the draft. I think you got 3 starters currently on the team between Nate Solder and obviously the 2 guards with Hernandez and Zeitler. So I think they're going to probably add 1 starter in free agency on the line and 1 in the draft. That would be my guess. But I can't wait to see how it plays out, man. I'm really excited about this year.
Yeah, same. Well, that's all I wanted to ask. Also, I love your channel a lot. I always watch them. I always watch your videos, so that's all I wanted to say.
I really appreciate that, man. Thanks for being a great supporter, man. Thank you for calling in and showing a lot of love and respect, man. I appreciate that.
All right, see you.
You got it, man. And Yvonne Felipe, man. I'm taking one at a time, man. I'm trying my best. But thank you for the love, man. $2 super chat. He says, damn, Chris, pick up your damn phone. I'm calling. I try my best, man. I'm going to try to get to as many people as I can. I always try to take everybody that I can. But Yvonne, man, thank you for being a great supporter, man. And I'm sure I'll get to you. I just can't. I got to take one at a time, man. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in. Who's this?
Hi, it's Connor.
What's up, Connor, man?
From New York.
What's up, Connor, man? Thanks for calling in, buddy.
Yeah, so I was just thinking, in a lot of years, the draft, the person that the Giants end up drafting is someone who's been kind of like unexpected. Who do you think that could be this year? I'm thinking Tristan Wirfs.
I'll tell you what. I don't want to say hello to Stephen Lilly. Of course, I got to say hello to him from across the pond. What's going on, my man? Tristan Wirfs. I tell you what, man. I read from Daniel Jeremiah that the New York Giants are potentially interested in him, or I read it on Reddit, and it was supposedly on his podcast from what he gathered at the Senior Bowl. And he's the type of guy, him or Becton. If you ask me a surprise guy, it would be him or Becton. Because they are the type of offensive lineman that I do think Gettleman could be interested in. He likes those big maulers, right? And that's what Wirfs is. I am not a fan of drafting Wirfs. I like him a lot, but everything I read about the kid is he is a guy that's better suited at the guard position. So
yeah, I heard that too. But then Daniel Jeremiah, I was listening to him. He said he would be a good tackle. I was like, all right.
Yeah, no. I'm not saying he can't be a good tackle, but most people say he's better suited to be a guard. I'm not going to cry if they get him. I love the hog mollies. And the way I look at it is if he starts at the tackle and, they feel like he has to shift to the guard, well, Zeitler's probably not going to be on this team much longer. Maybe another year after this year. That's probably about it. So they could always shift him to the guard anyway. But I do like Wirfs. I personally probably have him 4th just because I think he's better suited to be a guard. I'd probably have Becton above him. But I'm not going to be upset if they take any of those guys. I'm a huge fan of taking the offensive lineman this year and getting that sorted out. I would not be upset at all if they, obviously I want to trade down. Ideally, I don't want to stay at 4 and take a tackle if I don't have to. But if they take a tackle, you're not going to see me upset on draft night. That's for sure.
Same.
Yeah. I think they need to get that sorted out as soon as possible.
And another thing that I think could happen is I just have a feeling that Chase Young could fall to us. I feel like the Redskins aren't going to keep number 2.
I tell you what, man. I think it's pie in the sky stuff, but I'm hearing rumors about the Redskins potentially trading down and passing up on Chase Young. Somebody, I think it was Bavit actually, one of my best subscribers, pointed me to an article. I didn't report on it. Yeah, about the Bears and Khalil Mack. I mean, the way I look at it is this: why in the world would the Washington Redskins, and I don't know the full specificities about the trade, but if it was just Khalil Mack for the number 2 overall pick, why in the world would they ever do that? You could draft.
No, I don't think.
Go ahead.
I don't think it would be just Khalil Mack.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know that. The way I look at it is, I'm not taking Mack if I'm them. He already makes a lot of money. I could get a guy that's like 7 years younger with Chase Young, and I'm going to be paying him a rookie salary for 5 years.
And still great potential.
Yeah, and still great potential. It doesn't make any sense. I think the Redskins stay put. The only way I could see the Redskins trading out of that pick, the Miami Dolphins would have to offer them all 3 first-rounders. That's the only way I see it happening, and I don't see the Dolphins doing that. So I think the Redskins stay put, and I think they take Chase Young.
All right.
Yep. But thanks for the call, man. I really appreciate it, buddy.
All right. Really great conversation.
You got it, man. Thank you for being a great subscriber, man.
All right. Thank you.
Great call. Great call. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in.
Chris, it's Sam Borowski. How are you?
Sam Borowski, man. One of my favorite, man. And by the way, I got a question for you. Obviously I saw your email. That was a great video by Pat McAfee about the surprise teams. Did you want me to do a video giving my opinion on his opinion, or did you want me to do that exact video from my perspective?
From your perspective, you said showing what he said and maybe what the Giants have to do to be that surprise team, because that's a key. I heard a few things. I saw your video on the Chiefs receiver, and if Gettleman gives money to that guy, I know that he's got talent. He's a backup. He's never put up the numbers, and I don't want this guy getting $8-9 million.
No, can't do it. Can't do it.
He can't do it, but the articles read like they're that interested, and it's like that right off the bat. I don't like hearing that. Our receivers are pretty good. Slayton could start for many teams.
Yeah,
I really good.
I'm with you. I actually like the prospect. I've seen him play. I think he could be a good receiver, but I don't if you could get him for $5 or $6 million, I might be interested. But I don't want to spend $8-9 million when we have so many other needs on this team that need to be addressed in free agency, whether it's a center, whether it's a tackle, whether it's a edge rusher, a cornerback, a safety. So I think that's like our 6th or 7th biggest need right now. I would, like I said, if you get them for a $5-6 million deal, go ahead. But they're not going to be able to do that because the Eagles are already expressing interest.
The Eagles are already interested in him. And see, that's my issue, is there's too many other needs that, if addressed, can make this a significantly better team that we can't afford. The offense was looking good, just like that nonsensical Brady thing that we don't even need to talk about. It's just nonsense.
Yeah.
If Joe Judge ever gave that guy $30 million, which is what Brady wants, honestly, I don't think he should last even a year, because I just think that you don't draft a guy 6th overall and send Eli Manning to the bench look, Brady's at the tail end of his career. The Patriots don't even seem to want him back. And he's great, and that's great, but, you don't give a guy like that. That's what he wants, $30 million, and it's not how you rebuild your team. I mean, Jones almost broke the rookie record for touchdown passes. And what did he missed 2 games in the beginning of the season because Eli was starting, and then 2 to injury. 4 games. If he plays 1, he might break that record. But my thing is, and this is my point tonight, what Gettleman does, and I like Gettleman, I'm a Gettleman fan, is very crucial to if they can take that step, whether they make the playoffs, win 9 games or 7, they have to take a step this year. And I think that even battling for a wild card and losing out the last week, for any of that to happen, I think they have to make the right moves. And my preference is for them to sign Conklin and draft a defensive guy, just because, look, Thomas, I'm very sold on him. I am not sold on Jedrick Wills. I heard nothing about him till the end of this season. And God forbid this guy becomes Eric Flowers. We cannot have that in the 4th spot. We just can't. We can't just take a guy that may not work out. When you got Isaiah Simmons, who to me is a can't-miss talent, who could do so many things. I mean, heck, the guy's not even a pass rusher. He got 8 sacks. Maybe he could be a pass rusher if you use him that way. Maybe he could play in the middle. Seems like he could do anything, that guy. And I think that he's a special generational talent. If you pass him up for a guy like Jedrick Wills, just a big guy. Look, I used to play offensive line when I was younger, so I do appreciate the hog mollies. But
right.
A guy like Conklin, if his knee's solid and he's healthy, he's 25.
Well, that's what I like about signing Conklin, because in an ideal world, I'm with you. In an ideal world, if I didn't think the New York Giants offensive line was as big of a mess as it is, I would prefer to get the defensive player. I just think it's in shambles right now. But if you can address it by getting Conklin, which I don't know if they're going to be able to do, I would prefer to go defense. I agree with you. I love Isaiah Simmons.
And think about this.
Yeah.
If they get Conklin, right, and they go defense like Isaiah Simmons, then in the second round, you hope for a guy like Tyler Biadasz to fall.
Yes.
Biadasz, that's how they pronounce it.
Yeah.
But you hope for him to fall to you. There's your starting center. But there's 2 starting centers that could go in the second round, and one of them should fall to the Giants. Like, I'm looking at who's going to probably be there in the second round when I think of the first round. And then you could have offensive lineman free agency. You could have Isaiah Simmons, and then you get a center in the second round. I love the kid Akwara. I know he was injured. And we had his brother, Romeo, a couple years back. But I think that if you get Akwara, that means you're going offense. And if they do choose to take a lineman in the first round, I really hope it's Andrew Thomas. He was the consensus number 1 pick among offensive linemen and a top 4 player. Jedrick Wills came out of nowhere, and he plays right tackle, not left tackle. I'm very leery of him. He could turn out to be Eric Flowers, and everyone's going to go, why'd we do that? I mean, I remember when the Giants picked Flowers, they passed up on, what's his name from the Rams, the running back.
Gurley.
Gurley.
Yeah.
Because I know Gurley had a knee issue, but you knew this kid was a stud. And instead they picked Flowers, who was one of the worst first-round picks we've ever picked. He has a big mouth. He goes to the Redskins, and he's spouting off stuff when we played them, if you remember, even though we beat them twice. And, you know, I don't like him. I don't like him at all. You know what, Eric? Play like a first-round pick and shut up. You know, like that. And remember when he took that game off that last week, and they cut the other lineman, but they kept Flowers. The 2 of them said, we're not playing in Week 16 on New Year's Eve.
Yep.
That was just 2 years ago. And I don't want players like that on my team. They're lucky to be in the NFL. I want good players that really care. Look at Daniel Jones is like that. Saquon Barkley.
Well, yeah. I mean, I love those players. But if there was one offensive line, I like him. But if there's one offensive lineman, actually, I like Wills. But the Becton scares the hell out of me. Becton is, I think he's got a high ceiling. But if there was one offensive lineman to me that reminds me of Flowers, it's Becton. He's this big, imposing force like Flowers was. And when you watch him on tape, there's times that he doesn't bend his knees. There's a lot of question marks with him. I actually think Wills is pretty safe. But the thing that I don't like...
I hope he is. I hope he is. I just get like a weird feeling. And it's because we didn't hear anything. And I watched a lot of Alabama this year.
Yeah.
Like I was watching Alabama. I told you about that kid. You know, the other one's getting more play, the other pass rusher. But I really like Anthony Jennings, who they're saying might be there in the third round. The other kid is the one who's getting more play on the other side. But Jennings had more sacks, 2 more than the other kid. He had a forced fumble, an interception. He had like almost 100 tackles. This guy was like the heart of the Alabama defense. And I think he's 6'3", 250 something. He doesn't seem to get the respect. They have him in the third round, and they have that other guy going in early second, late first, the speed guy. But I would go. I think Jennings is a player who could make real impact. And then the last thing the Giants have to do, the decision which you talked about, they have to decide what they're doing with Evan Engram, and it's tough because he has so much talent, and he's a game-breaking tight end, but he gets hurt every year. And, you know, he seems to be okay with that. Like, he's always smiling and happy. And meanwhile, we had Caden Smith, who got like 4 touchdowns in 4 games.
Yeah,
So-
that's got to be something that Dave Gettleman thinks about, in my opinion. You have to think long and hard. If you're not going to keep him here, if you're not going to commit that 5th year before the year starts, I think you got to at least consider shopping him. But you don't trade you don't just trade him to trade him. You got to get the right price. But I think you got to
No,
consider.
exactly. And I was going to say to you, I was against trading him, and now at the end of this year and looking at the team and all the talent in this year's draft, which I think is a strong one, you get a late second round, no later than top 3 picks in the 3rd round. Late second, early 3rd, you know, in the top 3 picks in the 3rd. If you can get a player there where you don't have a pick, you might be able to really beef up another starter somewhere.
Yeah, I know a lot of Giants fans love Evan Ingram, or they love what he could be if he could stay healthy. But the way I look at it is, you can't, just fall in love with players. You have to think logically. If they're not going to keep him, why are you going to wait? Like, let's say they don't sign up to that extension this year, and let's say Evan Ingram this year goes out there and he gets hurt again. He only plays 4 games. What are you going to do? Because if he goes out, if you let him go, you're not going to get a good comp pick, because this guy's now an injury-riddled player. And are you going to sign a guy that's had so many injuries? So you're rolling the dice if you don't sign up to that rookie extension before the year starts. That's what I'll say about Evan Ingram.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, and I think that you can get a late second for him. He's that type of – the Patriots probably would give it up. They need a tight end, and he'll probably go there and be a star, but we'll get a starter. It works out for everyone, and that's what I do. And I'll leave you with this one. You'll get a kick out of this.
Yeah.
So we know a lot of the Mets. I told you that. My brother does business with the Mets. I got a picture of Pat Mahomes, the senior, in his KC hoodie. My brother was down at fantasy camp, but he goes every year. But he's holding his little son, and his little son is punching Pat Mahomes, which is just funny. But
I remember 98 or 99, Mahomes was a good reliever for the Mets.
99.
Yeah, he was good, Mahomes' dad, with the Mets for a couple of years. And then I think he went to the Twins.
He was, and I love his son. I love Patrick Mahomes. I was so happy the Chiefs won that Super Bowl. I think it was the best thing for the NFL. I can't stand the Niners. I think, I'm really down on them. Hearing they threw a party after they lost, and they went and they were whooping and hollering for Lil Wayne. You know what? Not my kind of football team. And if people go, what are they supposed to do? They're supposed to be upset. They blew a 10-point lead. And even though I think the Chiefs were going to win the whole time, they blew a 10-point lead in the 4th quarter, and they're whooping and hollering. Then I hear Kittle going, we'll be back. Yeah, good luck, Kittle, because Marino never got back.
You can't take that for granted. There's a lot of guys that think they'll be back, and they never get back there.
Last thing I'll say,
yeah,
I watched that Super Bowl when I was a little kid, the Dolphins and the Niners, a big Giant fan, again, rooting for the Dolphins. That year, I believe the Niners knocked us out, and in the divisional round, I watched the game, and Marino comes out, and he's winking at the cheerleaders. It was a famous thing when they introduced him in the offense. He winked. Never got back to the game. And Kittle and his whooping and hollering guys that are so happy to party with Lil Wayne, let's see how they do next year with the Super Bowl hangover. I don't think they're going to do that well. And even if Garoppolo would have hit that long pass at the end, Chiefs get the ball back with a minute and a half, 2 minutes. They win the game. I'm telling you.
I'm going to let you go because I got people calling in, but I agree with you on the 49ers. I'm going to do a lot more broad content this year, but mainly just like power ranking type stuff. If there is one team that might shock people, I might not pick the Niners to make the playoffs. I think that they could really fall off next year with the Super Bowl hangover. So I agree with you on that.
I agree. You have a great night, Tana. Do that video from your perspective. I think it'll go great. And as I always say, God bless and stay fresh.
You got it, my man. Thank you for the call, Sam. Have a good one, buddy. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, Chris. What's going on?
What's up, buddy? Who's this?
It's Nicky Sav.
What's up, Nicky Sav? Man, great subscriber of mine. Just want to say hello to a couple people in here. Try to shout you guys out. It's hard to talk to the chat when I'm doing the call-in show. What's up, UD? What's up, Cushmaster? What's up, Made by Kicks? What's up, Eric? Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for being a great subscriber. I see Ms. Rise in the chat as well. What's up, buddy? What do you want to talk about?
All right, so first off, hold on, let me get back. All right, so first off, this whole DeMarcus Robinson thing, I'm really upset with that. I don't want any part of DeMarcus Robinson. I think it'd be a total waste of money that can go elsewhere when receiver is generally one of our strongest areas. I'd totally much rather draft a receiver in the 4th or 5th round in such a deep class where you can get someone like a Michael Pittman from USC or Colin Johnson from Texas and these are both guys heading into the year that were projected first or second round picks. Injuries derailed Colin Johnson. He'd be awesome. Dude's 6'5", like 235. He's huge and a decent route runner for his size. So I just think that'd be a total waste.
What do you think about the kid out of Notre Dame in the third or fourth?
Oh, Chase Claypool?
Yeah.
You know, I haven't gotten much into his film yet. I do like his shiftiness. He reminds me kind of Willie Snead a little bit. But I think in the third, I think it's too early for him. I would consider him in the fourth. But I do like him. I do think his quarterback situation did not help him out, much like Jalen Reagor from TCU. But I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I think a receiver in the fourth, that should just be our designated receiver selection for this draft.
I agree with you. And thank you so much, Munoz. Thank you so much for the hippopotamus super sticker. I've never gotten that one before. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. But no, I agree with you. I think that I think that the fourth or fifth round would be ideal to take a wide receiver. It's a very deep wide receiver draft. I personally think, and I think I saw somebody say it in the chat when I was talking about Robinson earlier when somebody called in, and I saw people talk about it when I made my video. Now, I'm not against Robinson. I like Robinson. I remember watching him play with the Chiefs. I think he's a good wide receiver, but I agree with you. I would not look to sign Robinson in free agency because I think you could get a guy like a Pittman. Pittman's a good wide receiver. He's being underrated, in my opinion, from what I've watched.
He was one of the semifinalists for the Blitnikoff Award this year. Like, he's phenomenal, and he'll be in the fourth round.
Yeah, he's a good wide receiver as well. So I agree with you. And somebody mentioned in the chat that maybe, because obviously word has come out that the Eagles are interested in Robinson, maybe the Giants are leaking that, trying to drive up the price. Maybe trying to get the Eagles
Let them have him. That'd be great.
Oh,
wow.
yeah.
But get him in to be smarter than he looks.
Yeah, maybe they could get him to sign for 4 years, $9 million. When you saw what Adam Humphries got last year, that's what he got. So I wouldn't rule it out. And not to mention, it's a pretty thin wide receiver market. So it's very possible that he does get paid $9 million based on his age and his ability coming off a Super Bowl. I think he is a talented wide receiver. I don't think he's a number one by any stretch, but I do think maybe he could. Maybe the Eagles do spend a little more than they should on him. If maybe that's what the Giants are trying to do. I don't think the Giants will sign him. He's very similar to Sterling Shepard. He's a little taller, but he's a guy that could play both on the inside and out. He's more of a, he could break the big play. But I'm with you. If I'm going wide receiver, I'm going in the draft.
I feel like I'm getting kind of punished. I'm a diehard Alabama fan, and I love Jerry Jeudy, and he's my lock screen on my phone and everything. Like I'm obsessed with him. He's the best wide receiver coming to college since I've been watching football. He reminds me so much of Odell, and I'm pretty afraid of the Eagles getting Ruggs. However, Ruggs never had to deal with double coverage. He never had any cover two over him because they had Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, Jerry, all four of them. So Ruggs would be kind of like Deshaun Jackson 2.0. He kind of reminds me more of Tyreek Hill than Deshaun Jackson. But I would be terrified if he went to the Eagles. I don't want D-Jax 2.0.
That's when I watch a play. Yeah, Tyreek Hill's a good comparison as well. I think Deshaun Jackson was very similar to Tyreek Hill when he first came into the league, and that scares the hell out of me. I don't want that type of player because a player like that, they could change the game. A player like that, I would love the Giants to get a player like that, but a guy like that, we saw it with Deshaun Jackson. They could flip the game. So I am hoping the Eagles do not end up with Ruggs. I would much rather them get somebody else at the wide receiver position.
Do you know anything about Jalen Reagor from TCU? Have you watched him at all?
I've heard the name. I have not watched him yet, but a couple of my subscribers have told me about him.
I think he might be faster than Tyreek Hill, and you can look up just straight highlight films. I know PFF posted one on Twitter about all the missed opportunities he had deep and how bad his quarterback situation was. I think he's better than Henry Ruggs, and I'm an Alabama fan. I think he's better, and I think getting him in the second would be a steal. Not that I want to. I think we're going to sign Conklin. I just have a feeling we're going to, and at that point, I love Isaiah Simmons. He's like phenomenal in coverage and everything. He's kind of more of a jack of all trades, master of none. Most of his sacks were just like unblocked A-gap blitzes.
Yes, 100%.
His interceptions, great, all that stuff, the coverage. I'd rather Jeff Okudah because I think a lockdown corner is much more valuable than having someone like Isaiah Simmons, especially with the defensive coordinator that might not know how to use Isaiah Simmons, and Patrick Graham is kind of inexperienced in that area. So I think Jeff Okudah would be the better pick. I like Isaiah Simmons more, but I think Jeff Okudah for our coaching staff is much safer.
I'll tell you what, and by the way, thank you, JDO, for the $2 super chat. He says, draft Simmons at 4, sign Conklin, draft All D. I think most Giants fans are with him. If I had to go, well, there's a lot of Giants fans that want to go offensive line, and there's a
I think most Giants fans want Simmons. I do.
Yeah, and there's a very small portion that actually I think want Okudah. And I made a video, like you, it sounds like you want Okudah, and I made a video on that possibility because I don't want Okudah, but I'm not going to cry if they do it because I do recognize that he would kind of solidify that secondary. They need a number one. I think a lot of people are not looking at that because they say that the Giants spent a lot of early picks in last year's draft on the cornerback, and they don't want to spend another one. But Okudah is a special talent. I could see it. I don't want it, but I could see it, and I wouldn't cry if they did it. I'm not ruling that out at all. I think Okudah is definitely...
I'd be fine with Simmons.
Yeah.
If we signed another corner, like a veteran corner, like someone I've heard not one person say this.
Bradbury. What about Bradbury?
Cutting
What about Bradbury?
I'm not very high on him. Their schemes in Carolina. I loved him his rookie year because I remember when their other corner got absolutely torched by Julio Jones for 300 yards, and they cut him immediately after that game, and Bradbury stepped up. I'm not very high on him. Carolina's safeties tend to really make their corners better. That's why Josh Norman wasn't as good. I haven't heard one person say this. Xavier Rhodes is getting cut from the Vikings, and he's not going to get paid because it's a miracle by God that he is in the Pro Bowl. I would love that. I would love to sign him to a cheaper deal. I think that he was injured, and I think that it took one more year back for him to kind of get into the swing of things. And I think that he could be better next year. And I would give him like a 2-year contract. The ability to
I like that idea. I like that. I actually, one of my best subscribers mentioned that to me. Bavith, he mentioned Rhodes. I like that idea. I do. If they're going to spend in the secondary, I want it to be a shorter contract, 2 or 3 year deal because you have a lot of younger guys. But I'm with you. I think corner in free agency could definitely be a target as well. But yeah, I'm not ruling out Okudah. It's not gonna be it's not my preference, but I'm not ruling it out. I agree with you on that. But I
got one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so you know how all these teams are getting into salary cap hell and regretting signing running backs?
Yes.
So like how it's very probable the Titans won't re-sign Henry, and Zeke was most likely a mistake, and Gurley was definitely a mistake. Devin Johnson. When we get there with Saquon, what do you do? I don't want to let him go.
Okay, this is my strategy on Saquon. I actually was thinking about doing a video on this. I still might. I think if I was the general manager, I would extend Saquon Barkley next year. I wouldn't wait until his 4th or 5th year because the way I look at it is this: Saquon's going to be 24 next year, I think, right? Or well, yeah. So
he actually just moved in on my street down the road from me in my house. Like that's crazy.
Wow, you must have money. But no, as far as
maybe a little.
But as far as Saquon Barkley goes, I would look at it like this: I'm getting him on his 3rd year. He's going to be 24. I give him a 5-year extension. He's only going to be 29 after I paid him his money. If I wait till he's 26, I'm going to be paying him till he's 31. And most running backs break down right around that 29-year range. So I would try to extend him. Plus, you're saving yourself money because we all know the cap goes up by about 7 or 8% every year. So I think it makes a lot of sense. If you're going to keep this guy, which I think they are, I think they're building the team around him, get it out of the way next year. That's what I would do if I was getting him.
Awesome.
Yeah. But thank you.
Chris, thanks so much. Trade Devin Tomlinson for a 2nd-round pick.
All right, buddy. Thanks for the call, man. Great call. I got a couple of super chats I got to get to real quick, and then we'll talk. What's going on, Danny? Thank you for the $5 super chat. Ben Zanetti says, great show as always, my bro. My theory, go defense, sign Bud Dupree or Yannick as the big signing. If not tagged, that is, and draft Simmons, goal lineman round 2. I mean, I'm not, I'd go O-lineman rather. I'd prefer O-lineman in free agency or earlier in the draft, but I could completely get that mindset. You want to try to solidify that defense. It's been one of the worst defenses in football. I could count, it's probably been 20 times last year where he gave up a 3rd and 10, so I completely understand people who want to spend their the majority of the money on defense. And thank you so much, and we got time for the $2 super chat. He says, what's up, my man? Love the call and idea. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I'm going to try to do this at least once every other week going forward. And as the draft gets closer, and free agency, ends, I'll probably have a call-in show and a Q&A once a week apiece. But what's going on? Thank you for calling in. You're on live. Who's this?
Hey, what's up, Chris?
Who's this?
Oh, it's Ivan.
What's up? Oh, what's up?
I'm still in shock that I got through.
What's up, Ivan? How you doing, buddy?
You know what? Tonight's gonna be a good day, then.
What's going on, Ivan? Thanks for calling in, man.
Nah. I was just calling about a couple of things, actually. I want to know first why it's up with that negative. We gotta wait to 2021, you know.
You're breaking up. I didn't hear what you said.
I said, well, you gotta wait to 2021 or 22 to get the division. I think we could do it next year. We're just big pieces away from being a good team.
Oh, I'm not saying it can't happen.
That's one of the reasons I was calling you about.
Yeah, I'm not saying it can't happen. I don't want to set up expectations too high, but it's the NFL, man. The NFL is a crazy sport where, yes, you can change your team within one single offseason. It happens all the time. You can look back.
Oh, yeah, look at San Francisco. San Francisco had one of the worst records of a year prior, and they made a Super Bowl. Just got to do a combination.
Yeah,
thing.
You look at the
Now,
Jaguars.
my question for you is,
go ahead.
What would you do? Because I've been reading a lot, and I don't know if you checked out the Golden Tate, what I told you to check out. You said you was going to do that or not. But I think everything what the Giants are going to do all depends on next week, because the Combine starts next Sunday, which is basically 9 days away. And I think what's really going to set us apart is if Tua's health, because I just read online that his 3 months CAT scan is looking good. So, because I think the Redskins are going to trade for the second pick, and Miami is going to give them the fifth and the whatever they have in the mid round. Because I read a report that since Washington Redskins, their cap situation is not ideal. And keep in mind, when you have a second pick, that's actually, a bit of a price range. But I think if that happens, I think they're going to look at the report from Tua, whatever's going to happen in 2 weeks, and I think they're going to trade up. And I think that Detroit is going to definitely get the cornerback, because the rumors are Slay want to get out of there, the cornerback from. So I think that might be a possibility where we might have Josh Allen in our hands again, where obviously in this case it's going to be the pass rusher. So my question is, will you definitely jump on that, or you still want to trade down?
Oh, no. If that, I don't think this will happen. If Chase Young is there, trade down is not in my vocabulary. I take Chase Young. But I don't see that happening. I hope you're right. I hope the Redskins trade down. And I'll have to look into their cap situation. Where did you read that about that?
Well, you could do a spot track, because keep in mind, and the other thing I was going to mention was, remember Trent Williams is on the block too. So that's a tackle you never mentioned. That I know we talk about all the tackles, but Trent Williams is happy, he wants a big contract. That's another scenario where the Giants could trade with. I don't see them trading the division. But, remember, he's been available basically since half of last year.
How old is he? How old is Trent Williams, though? I don't even know how old. What's his age now, Trent Williams?
I believe he's 29. I don't think he's over 30, because keep in mind, he's only been in the league for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I mean, that one I definitely have to Google, but
yeah,
I mean, that's a scenario I was thinking about.
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible, man. There's so many scenarios before the draft. That's what makes it so fun. I'll have to look into that. I did not read those reports, but I haven't been looking for Redskins news, so I'll look into it, and I'll see if there's some validity, and maybe I'll make a video on that as well. I still would be shocked, but I would be very happy. Not even if we end up with Chase Young.
Keep in mind, we were shocked when we had this guy in our hands, but I think that scenario is going to play out, because keep in mind, Miami been wanting Tua since last year. And then keep in mind, for them, because anybody could jump them and get the Giants, but they could also go jump them. So I think the only way they could avoid nobody jumping them is to get that lock in the second pick. Because at that point, they got Tua, and obviously they have 3 first-round picks. So I'm sure that's going to entice the Redskins. And then I know all the reports, Detroit basically want their cornerback, which, again, if that happens, because remember, Combine's next week. So if Tua and then Herbert come out, that's going to be the first 5 slots, might be 3 quarterbacks, which at that point, Giants would be ideal to get that ultimate pass rush that we desperately need.
I'll tell you what, man, the one position that I am praying, that kills it at the Combine is the quarterback. Whether it's Tua, whether it's Herbert, whether it's Love, I want all those guys to light it up, because that will obviously increase the likelihood that the New York Giants would get a huge package at number 4. So I think if you're a Giants fan, you better be hoping that all those guys impress at the Combine and have a big, big Combine. So teams are interested in moving up and getting them. But, we'll see. The free agency market's also going to dictate a lot of this, too, because there's a lot of big-name free agent quarterbacks. So we got to see where Rivers ends up. We got to see where Brady ends up. We got, there's a lot of guys that could change this whole dynamic. So it's going to be a really interesting offseason. I can't wait to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, and definitely, and that's why I can't wait till next week, because obviously next Sunday is when everything starts, and I'm hoping, obviously a few guys, like you said, show up, but then again, I was thinking about that trade down due to the fact that Isaiah Simmons is definitely going to be sitting there, even probably the 8th spot, because I think the first 5 is going to be 3 quarterbacks, but let's see how that goes in the combine, because you never know. Anyway, I know you got a lot of callers, but I want to say let's go Mets, too. I can't wait. 2 more weeks.
Oh, I can't wait, man. Cannot wait for spring training, man. I appreciate all the love and
You
support.
need to come to Florida so we could chill, man. So
I might.
When that happens.
I don't think it'll happen this year, but next year I definitely think I'm going to spring training. And I'll let you know. I'll let you know, man. Have a good one, buddy.
All right, man.
Thank you for the call, man. I appreciate the call. And I saw a couple of people in the chat. I thought he was a little bit older. So there you go. A couple of people in the chat were saying Trent Williams is 31. Yeah, I thought he was a little bit older. So yeah, I'm not interested in a 31-year-old lineman. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in.
Yo, can you hear me?
I hear you. Who's this?
It's Leo.
What's up, Leo, man? Thanks for the call, buddy.
I'm chilling, man. Listen to the stream.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I want to talk about next year. I think we're making the playoffs next year, man.
And by the way, good night, Waterfly, man. Get your sleep, Long Islander. So you think we're gonna make the playoffs next year? Let me hear your reasoning behind this. I'm not saying it's impossible. Why do you think we'll make the playoffs?
Danny Downs, man. He won MVP.
You got Danny Dimes winning MVP next year.
Yes, sir.
Wow, you're setting the bar high. Year number 2.
Yeah. But, nah. I think we're getting Chase Young, too. Because all these quarterbacks, these mad QB needy teams, they're going to trade up for him.
We'll see. We'll see, man. I'll believe it when I say it. But I will say this. The draft is crazy every year. And if you would have said this time, from in 2018, if you would have said, that Baker Mayfield's going first, people would have called you crazy, too. So anything could happen on draft night. Anything could happen leading up to the draft, and we're not going to get a really good idea of what's going to happen until probably a week or so before the draft. After the combine, after all the rumors come out. The one thing I will say, and the reason why I think it's even more, I should have mentioned this in my video when I did the Gettleman video 2 days ago. Ralph Facciano was the guy who reported that Gettleman is more open this year to trading down. And I thought about it, and Ralph Facciano was the same guy who reported that the Giants were taking Daniel Jones 2 days before the draft. So if somebody's opinion carries some validity, it's him. So I think it's very. I'm leaning that the Giants are more than likely trading down than they're not. But if Chase Young was there, of course, they'd probably just take Chase Young.
Yeah. But, we're, keep up the good vids, bro. I'm going to fuck with you.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you for all the support on the channel, man. And hopefully you're right, man. Hopefully the Giants go to the playoffs next year.
All right, I'm going to fuck with you.
All right, my man. Have a good one. I don't know what he just said at the end. I hope he didn't say what I think he said. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in.
What's up, entertainer? It's Kyle from Long Island. How you doing tonight?
What's going on, Kyle, man? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm optimistic for this offseason for a change.
You're all right. What are we optimistic about? Tell me what you think about the Giants this year. Obviously, I'm assuming you like the coaching staff.
As a fan of Daniel Jones from last year, I like him with a year of experience underneath his belt. I hope we could get this O-line a bit more protected, so that he's not taking as many hits. I would like us to become more of like an 06 Eli team when we're handing the ball off more and a little bit less than pass.
I agree with you. I think I think that will be the strategy this year. I mean, everything you hear from Joe Judge is he wants to be this versatile football team. He believes in in being a smash mouth team. You look at Jason Garrett. When Jason Garrett was the OC with the Cowboys, they were a team that relied on the run and the vertical passing game. I think this is a team that is going to be old school Giants football. I think that's their mindset. I think they're going to give the ball to Saquon as much as they can. And when they don't, they're going to try to set up deep balls down the field. I think that will be the Giants' offensive strategy this year.
Yeah, because I was talking with my buddies the other day. I'm like, at first I hated the Joe Judge signing because I was like, who? Because we were all like, I want Matt Rule, I want Matt Rule, I want Matt Rule.
Well, I think that was most Giant fans, including myself. I was a big Rule guy. I was a big fan of Rule. Still am. I think Rule's going to be a good coach.
Yeah, I'm beginning I like the Jason Garrett hiring. I like the fact that Garrett's been saying, "Oh, we're going to run Saquon. We're going to run Saquon." Because I was like, I think mine and your biggest gripe last year was, why aren't we using Saquon running between the tackles? Why aren't we running the ball? Why are we throwing every down?
Yeah. No, listen, man, that's what I've been crying for. And listen, I tried to defend Pat. If you watch my channel, I tried to give Pat every ounce of credit I could. I thought he was a good guy. I thought that he had a good offensive background. But at the end of the day, he was a bad head coach, and his play calling was not consistent. He didn't run the ball enough. You have Saquon Barkley, you take him number 2 overall, and there were instances in certain games where they're running the ball effectively, and he goes away from it. And I don't think that'll be the case here. I think the Giants are gonna try to be a run first team. They're gonna try to keep that defense fresh. I think that will be the strategy this year. I don't expect this to be a team that goes out there and tries to throw the ball 50 times a game, which I'm happy about because I don't want that. I want a team that's gonna go out there. They're gonna have a 50-50 disparity between run and pass. You keep the defense on their heels. They don't know what's coming. I think that will be the offensive strategy, and it should be. If you spend the number 2 overall pick on a running back, it's time to start building the team around that running back. And I think that's what they're going to try to do this offseason with the offensive line and everything else. And I think that's the right approach.
And I'll just leave you with this one last question, Chris. I'm a big advocate. Let's trade back with this fourth pick because I don't think Young's going to be available. And the only other player who I think can change our defense is Isaiah Thomas. If we can't get out, I want that pick there. But I'm thinking in the second round, what are we thinking? I'm thinking O-line if we don't get somebody this offseason.
Yeah, oh yeah. If you don't take O-line at 6 or 4 rather, or if you trade down to 6, whatever it may be, I think you got to go O-line in the second, whether it's a center or a tackle. No matter what you do in free agency, I think that they need to spend one of these 2 early picks on offensive line. They got to get younger there. And yeah, I'm with you. If you don't take offensive line in the first, I think you got to in the second.
Yeah, and I really don't want this Kansas City receiver. I think whoever signs him is going to overpay a lot of money. And I think he's kind of a product of the system in Kansas City. So I really hope we're staying away from that. I'd rather us take that money and invest it either in a defensive player or an offensive lineman. Something I'd rather have 1 or 2 big signings than one stupid couple of signings. You know what I mean?
I'm with you, man. I'm completely with you. I don't want to spend money on a wide receiver in free agency unless it's a ridiculously cost-effective contract. I want no part of spend. They gotta spend that money wisely, and spending on a wide receiver would not be smart. It just wouldn't. If it's $4, $5, $6 million, maybe, but he's gonna go for more than that. The Eagles are gonna end up spending at least 7 or 8 on him, and I don't want to do that.
No. Let them spend 13, 14. Let them raise it as high as they can. You know Philadelphia, they need everybody. They get everybody.
Yeah, let them have their super team. We'll stay away from them.
Let them sign Odell. Let them get the Odell trade too. Philly, give Cleveland a couple first-round picks. Take Odell. Sign the guy for $14 million.
Yeah.
Just make all your cap all wide receivers.
Get it done. I'm with you on that. I'd be very happy with that. But thank you for the call, man. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you for being a great subscriber, man.
Have a great night, man. Talk to you later. And I enjoyed the XFL games last Sunday.
Yeah, it was fun. I'm gonna try to stream it again on Sunday. We'll see if I can. But yeah, man, it was fun. It was. I think it's a pretty good product. I do. All right, man. Have a good.
Talk to you later, man.
Have a good one. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in. What's going on? Bot Snowman in the house. Eric Garrison's in here. Hayward Bay is in here. Thank you guys for being here. A lot of people like Vic Beasley. If it's cost effective, maybe take a shot. Slick Schmidt, what's up, man? Thank you for being here. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, bends the knees, Moss Boss. What's going on?
Oh, you knew that Mr. Evans had to get through. What's going on, Steven Evans? How you doing, buddy?
I'm well. And yourself? How you doing?
I'm pretty good, man. Just enjoying talking some Giants football tonight. Good calling show. Had a lot of good callers so far tonight.
Yeah, listen, I'm just I'm late to the party. I just got back from my sister's house. She's working my fucking nerves. But I just wanted as soon as I saw that she was on, I said, let me call in because I could never forgive myself. I'm always beasting for you to do a call-in show.
Yeah, well, I was saying to people earlier in the show, I'm gonna do once there's a lot more to talk about after the the combine, and as free agency approaches, I'm probably going to do one of these a week, along with one Q&A. Probably 2 nights a week. I'm going to do a Q&A. I'm going to do a call-in leading up into the draft, and then obviously we'll scale it back a little bit after that. But there's going to be a good 5-6 week period where we probably have a call-in show once a week.
Yeah, that is a bold-faced lie, Marcy. Okay,
I'm telling you.
Okay. Well, hey, listen, I have trust issues, so if you say it, I'll believe it. And listen, to be honest, I wasn't even expecting you to have a call-in show tonight, so I'm thoroughly unprepared. But basically, I just want to say what's up to you, what's up to the chat, and I'm looking forward to the draft and all these other ancillary moves, to fill in the roster, just like everybody else is. Obviously, I've been beating the Antonio Gandy Golden.
You love
quite
that
some
guy.
time now.
You love that guy.
I do.
Yeah,
I do. And listen, you actually did a little profile on him, I guess, a couple of weeks ago, which was appreciated. And hopefully, you saw some of the same things that I did.
I'll tell you what, man. I think he. I hope. I don't think they would take him in the second round. I hope he falls to the back end of the third if he's there. I do think he's the type of receiver that they're looking for. I think there's a couple of receivers like him because it's a very wide receiver rich draft. But yeah, I mean he's tall. He's like, what is he, 6'5"? He can go up and catch the 50-50 ball. I think it's the type of wide receiver that Jason Garrett would want for his offensive system. So, and it's the type of wide receiver we need. I mean, Darius Slayton's really our tallest threat. He's 6'1". So, yeah, I think he's a decent prospect and a guy that if you get him in the late third, early fourth, definitely a guy that should be on the New York Giants' radar. I think he's a solid prospect for sure.
Absolutely, and listen, with the receiver class, both wide receiver and tight end being as deep as it is this year, I'm not quite sure getting him at the end of the third or maybe even later is out of the question. So hopefully he's not just on my draft board. Hopefully Gettleman and the Brain Trust over there, also have a hairy eyeball on him as well. So that'd be definitely. And listen, I think a couple of weeks ago you made the analogy, and I thought it was spot on about how I think it was in Eli's second or third year, whatever. They got him Plaxico Burress, a nice big target, nice catch radius and whatnot to kind of bridge the gap between, needing that sort of receiver and then being able to divvy out balls amongst a whole receiving core. Like I feel like Plaxico really served the purpose for Eli at a crucial time in his development. So hopefully, if we can get the same kind of receiver for old Daniel the White Mahomes Jones, hopefully it'll produce some of the same results.
I like that, Daniel the White Mahomes Jones. No, but I completely agree with you. I think Plaxico Burress was huge for Eli Manning early on in his career. I think it doesn't get spoken about enough. I think, as crazy as it sounds, I think Eli Manning became a better quarterback after Burress left, but I think that Burress had a lot to do with why Eli had some success early on in his career. Because once Burress left, it kind of forced Eli to scan the field, and he didn't have that guy that could go up there and he could just throw it up and go up there and catch that jump ball. But when Burress was here, he had that crutch, and that helped Eli out a lot early on. And I would think a total wide receiver, whether it's him, whether it's Chase Claypool, there's a number of them, but I think that is a guy that the Giants could certainly add to the receiving corps this year, and they need a total threat for the red zone outside of Evan Ingram.
Absolutely. And listen, I was big on Evan Ingram early on, but my God, in sports, in life, at work or whatnot, one of your biggest abilities is availability. And for as talented as he is, he just can't stay on the field. You know what I mean? And it's a hell of a thing because obviously he's a matchup nightmare, and we've seen what he can do when he's right, but he's never available. I didn't see. It felt like I didn't see him the whole second half of the season. You know what I mean? And and then with the development of the other tight end that we have, whose name is escaping me right now, I feel like
Caden Smith.
Absolutely. So with his development, I feel like in some ways that makes Ingram expendable to a degree, or at least would leave you more receptive to some sort of trade offer or bundle him in a package or whatever. So, if that happened, I wouldn't be crying a river. But if it doesn't happen, we need him to be available and to be a viable threat and target moving forward. Because, I mean, you got to be on the field. And listen, not for nothing, a couple of months ago, it was looking, pretty clear where we're picking and who would be available. Is it just me, or is who we end up picking for our first pick like wide open at this point?
No, it is. When you look right, because it's crazy right now. I mean, it's good for me as a YouTuber because it adds a lot more content. Because if we were picking first, we're going Chase Young. But picking at 4, the options are wide open. They could go Okudah. They could go Simmons. They could trade down. They could take the offensive tackle. So there's like 7 guys we could take with that pick.
Right.
And a lot of that is going to be...
I got to tell you.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No,
I was going to tell you, not for nothing, right? But when you put the I think it was you. Some other people did it too, but obviously I don't pay attention to other Giants YouTubers as I do my man, the Moss Boss. You you do what you do, and we love it, Like, but listen, when I saw some of those highlights of the left tackle from Louisville and how he's just ragdolling people, not for nothing. Yeah, listen, if his pass blocking footwork or whatever his shortcomings may be, and there aren't many as it relates to his pass blocking in particular, if that's something that he can get coached up on this level with the coaching staff that we put in place, I'm not quite sure that we wouldn't want him, period. Not to mention whoever else is out there. I would take him and just, roll the dice, and hopefully he turns into that Leon Lett, that big mauler on the left side of the line that no one can do anything with. Can you imagine if he actually projected out to what he could be physically and then fundamentally? That would be a whole problem.
Becton is he's a tough one to gauge because he could either be a complete bust or he could be he has probably the highest ceiling and lowest floor of the 4 major prospects at the tackle position in this year's draft. But Becton is definitely a guy that I could see Gettleman being interested in, like Jeremiah said. It would take a lot of balls to take him at 4, but I mean, when has Gettleman cared about what the media thinks? I mean, this guy takes who he wants to take. Daniel Jones last year is a perfect example. So,
absolutely,
if he wants him, he's going to take him. And a lot of what we're going to have to wait and see. How he does at the combine and things like that. That have a lot to do, with his draft stock. But don't rule Becton out. He's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, I will not. And listen, I'm not ashamed to admit that I had not heard a single word about that guy before I saw one of your videos, and I said, holy shit, how did he escape my purview? And then I did my own little crack research, and I'm like, wow, this kid is, he's a problem. And listen, for however raw he may be, and however much of a bust potential he may present, right? See, for me, that is when coaches earn their salary. Whatever happened to getting a kid and coaching him up? You know what I mean? So hopefully we have the kind of staff in place that can get a kid like that, or an Antonio Gandy Golden later in the draft and whatnot, and coach him into being what they could be. Like, that's what we pay our coaches for.
And they definitely brought in a lot of really good coaches that that we're excited about, and Mark Colombo is one of them, the former offensive line coach with the Cowboys. So I think he's gonna help the offensive line a lot. I think this coaching staff is gonna be really good. We'll see. Maybe I'm too optimistic, but I like the guys they brought in, and Colombo's probably one of my 3 or 4 favorite guys that they brought in. I think he's gonna do a lot for this offensive line.
Right, and as you know, I'm just like, probably of all your subscribers, there is a good chance that I am the most positive, most optimistic of anyone who frequents your channel. Right, I always have a kind and positive word to say about whatever moves we're making. And so I'm trying to keep that same energy moving into the draft and free agency period and next season. But I will say this, though, for as many holes as we have on both sides of the ball, someone like Isaiah Simmons, I'm not quite sure I would take a flyer on him or roll the dice on him the same way I would Becton, because I don't want a tweener as a first-round lottery pick for any position. I don't want a cornerback that may be a safety. I don't want a safety that may be more of a linebacker. I don't want any of that shit. I want somebody who is a pass rusher, a left tackle, a tight end, a wide. You see what I'm saying?
That's the people the people that don't want Simmons. That's what they say. that he's his MO is he's a guy that's good at everything. He's not great at anything. And that is what people worry about. I definitely see his value. He's a guy that I think that you could line up at the linebacker spot and he could take away a tight end in coverage, things like that. I do think people see his film, though, and maybe they overrate him a little bit. I kind of agree with you. I'd like him at 7 or 9, but at 4, I'd rather go with the offensive line. I agree with you. I don't know if he's going to be this unbelievable talent at the NFL level because he's not quite big enough to be an unbelievable linebacker. He's kind of, like you said, a tweener, a guy that can do a variety of things. He's definitely going to help in coverage. You get after the quarterback, but like one of my callers said earlier in the when they called in, take a look at his film. Every time he sacked the quarterback last year, it was through the A-gap. It wasn't like he was going around the edge and making spin moves and things like that. It was, it was designed blitzes. Yeah, so I like Simmons. I like him a lot, but I don't think he's like this can't-miss prospect that some people may think. I'll say that.
Got you. And listen, I'll leave you with this, and obviously thanks for the taking the call. I appreciate it. It's always good to talk to you. For me, I feel like with as deep as the draft is, right, at actually a lot of positions, skill and otherwise, in addition to the money that we're willing to spend of what's available for free agency and whatnot, I feel like, I really do, that if some shrewd moves are made, right, if some smart picks are made, and if some guys get coached up and barring injury, I feel like we can really see a substantial difference in the product on the field next season. And I'm really, really, really hoping that, like I said, smart picks are made, smart money is spent, and we can hit the ground running next season. Because for my money, the NFC East is wide open, right? There is no clear front runner. I'm not a big Redskins guy. Obviously, it's Giants all day. But if we get things the way I hope we get them, and Daniel Jones continues to progress, hopefully a new system doesn't, retard his progress at all, why not us type of vibe from me right now? Why not us?
You know what? I like it. I like the positivity. Like you said, you're a really optimistic guy. And if there's one division that is wide open, it should be the NFC. Everybody underperformed last year. So if we do the right things this year and things break right for us, we get a couple of bounces, why not us? Go into the year optimistic. That's what I'll say. I got to let you go because I got a lot of people calling in. But Mr. Evans, always love talking to you, buddy.
Hey, bends the knees, man. Take it easy.
All right, my man. Have a good one. And we got time, man. Thanks for the super chat, man, by the way. I really appreciate that, man. He says, yes, Chase Claypool. He got excited when I mentioned Chase Claypool. That's right. You're a big Claypool guy. As am I. I think he is a good guy to target maybe in the 4th round. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, Chris, it's Small Ball. What's going on, buddy?
Small Ball. What's going on, man? How you doing, buddy?
Doing good, sir. Doing good. You're doing a great job with your show. I think your show is doing a fantastic job with content, and you're definitely one of my favorite Giants YouTubers, and I definitely enjoy your content.
I really appreciate that, man. How's things going in college? I went on your page. I saw you did a video, and you had some problem with people in the dorm room. How's things going in college?
Oh, man, it's still the same. It's still the same.
Yeah.
It's college for you, but, man, I'll be out of here by the fall. I'm graduating in the fall, so
that's
looking
awesome.
forward to that.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations, man. Congratulations.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you, you're obviously a Tennessee Vols guy. I'm assuming you're a Titans fan as well, right? Actually, I know you're a Titans fan. We talked about that.
Yes. In fact, I'm also a season ticket holder for the Titans as well. So,
what do you think of Conklin? Obviously, he's a guy that's on a lot of New York Giants fans' minds. What do you think of him from what you saw this year? Do you think he's worth what he's projected to get paid if you guys let him go?
Absolutely, I think he's worth what he's projected to be paid. He started out struggling this year, but when you look at the productivity of the run game that Derrick Henry and this offensive line produced, Jack Conklin was a huge reason for that. And I know that John Robinson did not, give him that 5th-year option, but damn it, it pisses me off that he didn't because, man, we could really use him for another year. I think he is a franchise right tackle, and for us to let him go, I think it's stupid because now we're having to look for another right tackle. And for you guys to pursue him, absolutely do it because he's a once-in-a-lifetime generation right tackle for you guys to get. And I feel like if you guys don't get him, you guys are going to be struggling to find a right tackle for years to come because you can find a franchise quarterback in an NFL draft. You can find a franchise running back in the draft in the first round or late rounds. You can't find a right tackle for years to start. You know, it's like a not a once in a lifetime thing, but you know, it's a very rare thing. And
I agree with you, man.
You guys get him if he is available. So.
There's a reason tackles of his caliber don't hit the open market often because teams don't let them go when they have them. And it's an interesting dilemma you guys have because you guys got your quarterback, you've got Henry, and you've got him all set to hit the open market. You can't franchise tag all of them. It's a very interesting spot you guys are in, and I'm very curious to see how it plays out. Obviously, as a Giants fan, I'm hoping that you let Conklin walk. But he had a hell. I did a video on this. He had a hell of a second half for you guys. The first half he was kind of but it's I think a lot of Henry's strong second half could be attributed to Jack Conklin's improved offensive line play. And I'm a big fan if we could get him. I really am. I think he's a great player.
Absolutely, man. I totally agree with you there. Well, Chris, the reason why I'm calling you is because I'm a man about hot takes. And this one, I feel like I'm going to be the most unpopular person in the chat room after this call. But I'm wanting to see what you think of it because I feel like this is something that needs to be discussed.
Let's go.
Last year, you guys drafted Daniel Jones, right?
Yes.
That's the 6th overall pick.
Yes, we did.
Well, let me ask you this. Knowing how Dave Gettleman is a man of balls of steel.
That should be his name. That should be his new name.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But anyway, let's say that Tua is available with the 4th overall pick.
Oh no!
Let me finish here.
Oh no! This is gonna be like the Apollo. You're gonna get yanked off the stage. But go ahead.
Oh, I know, man. But I'm telling you, man. Like, I'm serious here, man. Because if you guys drafted Tua and been pulled at Arizona, where you guys traded for what they did for Josh Rosen last year, it's well worth it, in my opinion. I think it's well worth you guys drafting Tua because you guys know what you guys are going to get from Tua. Like I said, man, I know that this is an unpopular take, but man, I definitely could see Gettleman doing that and pulling what Arizona did last year. It's a wait and see moment, but I definitely think it's a possibility that you cannot rule out.
Anything's possible. It's a new regime. They're not married to Daniel Jones. I'd be shocked. I would not be happy. Anything's possible. I won't rule it out. But
why? Why would you not be happy? You know that Tua is a franchise quarterback.
But I like Daniel Jones. We got
value out of Daniel Jones.
We got our quarterback. We got Daniel Jones.
Man, you were not happy last year when you drafted Daniel Jones.
I'll be the first to say, man, I overreacted. And I didn't do enough research on him. I'll be the first to say it. Before the draft. And I like Daniel Jones the night of the draft. And Q-Dog, man, thank you so much for the super chat, man. I just want to read that real quick. He says, this is such a great time for being a diehard Giants fan. Going into the game, 2020 season, you're the best Giants YouTuber, hands down. Man, I really appreciate that, Q-Dog, man. I really do.
Absolutely, you are, man. I don't find anyone better than you, man. So
I really appreciate that.
Going, man.
I really appreciate that, guys. Thank you guys very much. But no, man, we'll see, man. I don't see it happening. I like your out-of-the-box thinking. I always sometimes I'll come up with, out-of-the-box ideas, and I'm like...
You should do a video on that. I guarantee you would get a lot of views on that.
We'll see. I do not want that to happen. I want them to either trade down, take the offensive tackle, or take Simmons or whoever.
But I'll tell you this: you better be glad I wasn't the general manager of the New York Giants. That's what I would be doing.
Oh God, you're killing me, man. I like you a lot, man, but we can't agree on that. We can't agree on that.
I got you, bro. And you know what? I didn't expect you to, but I'm always about hot takes, and I honestly get a lot of heat for the stuff I come up with. But it's sports, man. It's what it's about being a sports media and coming up with outside of the box thinking.
Well, that's what's fun about YouTube. That's what's fun about YouTube, man. I made a video about a month ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, and it was out of the box thinking. The video was about is it smarter to trade for a pass rusher rather than sign one? And before I made the video, I was like, is this crazy? People might think I'm absolutely insane. And I did my best to explain my position. And a lot of people were like, wow, that's a really good point. But there's times where I have hot takes. And I'm like, I'm nervous sometimes to release them and tell people how I feel. But I've learned to just tell people your mind, man, because people appreciate it. Whether or not they agree with you or not, they want to hear, your thought process. And
I'll tell you firsthand, man. I've written articles for TitansBias.com, which is a fan-sided website for the Tennessee Titans, and I've written several hot takes. And there was one in particular that I wrote last summer about our owner, Amy Adams Strunk, and I said that she didn't deserve to be Tennessean of the Year because she doesn't reside in Tennessee. She resides in Houston. She lives in Houston for 50% of more than a calendar year. And when I posted that, man, and had my editors look at it, they said, this is great. We're going to get a lot of exposure out of this, but you're definitely going to get a lot of hate. And boy, did I ever. I mean, man, people on Twitter were dogging me. And even people in the Nashville media were making podcasts about my article and how bad of a take it was. So my thing is, man, if you're going to be successful in life, go for it, and don't worry about the criticism or anything of the heat that anyone tells you. If you believe it's right, and if you believe that it's what your mind's set to, go for it. That's how you make the business, man.
Small vol, man. I gotta let you go. I got a lot of people calling in, but great call, man. Love talking Jack Conklin with you. Hope everything's going well in college, and thank you as always for all the support you always show on my channel. I appreciate it.
All right, see you, pal.
You got it, my man. Have a good one. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in.
Hi, my name is Brandon Malarney. How you doing?
Brandon Malarney. What's going on, man? Thank you for calling in, buddy.
Hey, good. How are you? You are my favorite Giants YouTuber by far. I agree with your previous guest. I get all my news from you. I love every time you post. It makes my day.
Wow,
and
man.
You post frequently. I love it.
I really appreciate that, man. That means a lot, man. Yeah, I try to... it's hard to balance it because I try to give you guys at least one, if not two, if not three videos a day. But it's hard to come out with content, but I try my best. And I appreciate that, man. I really do. It means a lot. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I got I love a lot of your takes, and I got a couple scenarios for you. I'd be curious for some videos. I'm big into college. My father actually coached with Bill Belichick back in the day.
Really?
Before when he was originally at Wesleyan, yeah. Way back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah, and I love following college and whatnot. And I got a scenario for you. A guy that I've been kind of following. I think it might be a sleeper for the Giants in the second round because I really don't see him being in the first round. What do you think about Cole? I don't know how to say his last name, but Cole Kemet.
Oh, you're talking about the tight end.
The tight end, yeah, because I know you were talking a lot about Ingram. And
Yeah.
this made me think. For some reason, I feel like this may be a sleeper for the Giants. I think he might be a second or third rounder, depending on his combine, but I feel like he could be, and a lot of people aren't really talking about him, I feel like he could be the next really good tight end that people aren't talking about. What do you think about him?
Yeah, it's a thin tight end draft from everything I've read, and every mock I've seen, he's the first tight end that's off the board. I just think right now the Giants have so many holes on their roster that I personally am going, I got to fill in my other holes before I worry about the tight end. But he's a talented prospect. I've seen him play. I've seen some tape on him. I just don't think he'll be there. I mean, if he's there at our comp pick at the end of the third, sure. But I don't want to take him at 36 overall. But he's definitely the best tight end in this draft by most people's standards.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
And, I remember, a previous thing you were talking about Darius Slayton. He was my favorite guy to watch this year. And I was even talking to one of my friends. I'm like, this kind of resembles the connection between Eli and Victor Cruz. I feel like this could be the next Eli Victor Cruz scenario.
If there is one
Daniel Jones to Darius Slayton, I just have a good feeling about it. I keep thinking about that.
If there
I'm
is
wondering what you thought about that.
if there is one player on this roster that I think could, I'm not predicting this, but next year, if there's one player in this roster that could, like, really break the national scene, in my opinion, it's not Daniel Jones, it's Darius Slayton. I think Darius
That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah, I think Darius Slayton has the potential to have a mega year. I especially in this offense, I really like Darius Slayton a lot. He was a lot better than I think people thought he was going to be early on. I think a lot of people viewed him as a project. I think he could have a big year for the Giants next year. I could see him at least 1,000, but I could see him even better than that. But I don't want to get crazy. I don't want to sound too much like a hot take guy, but I think Darius Slayton could have a big sophomore season if given the opportunity, and I think he's going to be given the opportunity because I think the Giants are going when they throw this year. I think you're going to see him take a lot more shots down the field out of the play action. So, and if they're taking shots down the field, I think Slayton's going to be the guy they target.
Well, and he showed us that he's not really he's not he shouldn't be treated like a rookie because my favorite game was the Lions. You saw him go up for those balls, make big plays. I mean, they always talk about. I remember when I was watching, ESPN, they talk about plays that define Dak, like almost like, oh, those are the plays where he should get paid. Those are the plays to me where it's like, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. He goes up and gets those balls. They said that's what you throw to a veteran receiver. I'm like, this guy, he resembles a lot of Victor Cruz to me. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him in the future too.
Yeah, and what impressed me, and what impressed me the most about him, I mean, at the beginning of his career early on with the Giants last year, first couple of games, he dropped a few balls, and I heard that in OTAs last year, he was dropping too many balls, and that was the MO on him. But as the season progressed, you didn't really see many drops, and the thing that really impressed me most about him, that surprised me the most, was he wasn't just this deep route runner type receiver. He showed you the ability to be a pretty good route runner. He had good hands. I think he's a good all-around wide receiver with really good upside. He might be the player that I'm most looking forward to watching next year in terms of progressing. I really like Slayton.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, my kind of receivers, I know everybody, missed Beckham. I know we love them. Maybe not so much after this past season with the Browns. But I personally love receivers that challenge the DBs for the ball. Those contested catches. One of my personal favorites, I thought they hit a home run with it, was the Patriots in the draft, N'Keal Harry. They didn't really get to utilize him much this year because he had the injury. But he was one of those guys. He was my favorite receiver going in the draft. Not necessarily a fit for the Giants, but those guys that really challenge the DBs for the deep balls, those gritty receivers, I think those are the kind that are really going to help this team, honestly.
Yeah, I liked Harry a lot last year, actually. I can't remember who I had him going mock to. I had him going mocked in either the end of the first. It might have been the Patriots. I don't remember. But, yeah, I was a big fan of Harry, a tall wide receiver that go up. Actually, I think I had him going to the Ravens. I thought the Ravens could have used a tall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought the Ravens could have used a tall. But I liked Harry a lot as well. He was kind of underwhelming, like you said. But, yeah, I think the Giants need a receiver like that. Yeah, as much as Slayton is kind of like that, I think they need an even taller guy opposite Slayton. I think they're going to look for that in this year's draft, and I'm looking forward to seeing.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing.
I think he's going to fill some big. Yeah, I think he's going to fill some big shoes this year.
Yeah.
But I also like with your channel. I love a lot of people. I think there's a lot of hate. I always see this everywhere. As everybody knows, as a New York sports fan, we have a tendency to really hammer. I think Gettleman. I like how you give Gettleman a lot of credit. I do agree with his philosophies too. I know it only goes to a certain extent, but I do agree that I always get in an argument with all my friends who are Giants fans because they want now. I do agree with this philosophy of value, not for need, because, I feel like his philosophy works, and if he can figure his free agency thing out, I think we could have a great draft this year. I think the Giants can be on the rise very soon because I really do think value in the draft is much more important than need. And I kind of have not necessarily a hot take as well, but I wanted to know one last thing how you feel about it in terms of that. For some reason, I'm just not so sold on taking a tackle as high as we have that pick. I do believe, and you talked about this in one of your videos, that you can get a good tackle in later rounds. Do you really feel that the Giants should utilize that pick somewhere else? Do you think we can get a tackle in later rounds? Because something tells me, kind of like how we got Will Hernandez, that's what sticks in my head, we can get a good tackle in the second round. So I'm curious. I don't necessarily want Isaiah Simmons. I heard someone else say that too. I'm kind of torn on that, but I don't know how I feel about wasting that pick on a tackle. I'd almost rather trade down if we get the right offer.
Well, ideally, I want to trade down, regardless. Yeah, ideally, I think the best case scenario we trade down. I don't view it as wasting, though. If you get a great tackle, you get a great tackle. But yeah, ideally, I'd like to trade down to 6, 7. I don't want to. I'd like to stay within the top 7 if I could. Maybe 9 the furthest. But yeah, ideally, I'd like to trade down. But I just want them to take the best player. I want them to take the guy that they feel fits their need, that's going to be a good player. And whether that's offensive line or pass rusher, you just go I think the other thing that Gettleman's going to have to contemplate is where can he get more value in the second round? And I think that may dictate where he goes in the first. If he feels like he's going to have a better talent pool at the tackle position in the second round as opposed to a pass rusher or a cornerback or whatever it may be, maybe he does do that. Maybe he takes the tackle in the second round. And that's, some of the things that go through your mind when you're a general manager during the draft. And it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. And obviously the Combine's going to have a lot to do with it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then, of course, I know you've done a couple on this, the Leonard Williams thing. This is why I love your channel, because I have my own takes in my head. And then I remember how you explained that explicitly, and it made me realize, I was talking to my buddy, I'm like, that Leonard Williams trade I actually did end up hating. Because my whole thing, and I think you iterated this, that what he's going to do, yes, he does stuff to run very good, but we drafted Dexter Lawrence, and I feel as though he's going to cost way less unless he has, keeps progressing. Dalvin Tomlinson can fill the shoes that Leonard Williams is going to want in terms of money anyways.
Yeah,
so that's kind of like my whole thing. That's why I wasn't sold on that either.
Yeah, what I'll say about Leonard Williams is definitely more versatile. That's what I will say. I think Leonard Williams is more versatile. He can do more things, but I like Dalvin Tomlinson a lot, and you're not going to be able to keep both, and that's why it didn't make sense to trade for him, because now you wasted a third or fifth round pick. You were already pretty strong at that position to begin with. Now, I recognize that he definitely helps the defense. Leonard Williams helps the defense, but you could have signed him. You didn't have to trade for him. That's what didn't make sense from the start. I tried to be optimistic about it. I tried to get behind the idea of bringing Williams in. I never understood the trade, but I did like Williams. I still like Williams. I just don't – they gave themselves no leverage, because now Williams knows he's got all the power because of what Gettleman did. If Williams was, stayed with the Jets let him walk, you would have got him probably for $10, $11 million. Now, knowing he has all the leverage, knowing that the Giants sold out for him, he knows he's getting $13, $14 million minimum. And he's in a position of power, which that, as much as I like Gettleman, I like a lot of things he does, that move never made sense. That was a bad mistake by Gettleman. And I think maybe he was trying to save Pat's job. I do. Maybe he was trying to save himself and Pat's job. Maybe he convinced ownership, why don't you give us the second half of the year when we have Leonard Williams, see how the defense performs. That's what I think happened. That's the only thing that makes any sense to me. And it wasn't a good trade. It was a very bad trade. I cannot back him up on that one.
Well, I remember your take about how essentially, this is actually why it made sense to me at the time. Remember your take about how it was essentially because of the way the compensatory pick
compensatory pick,
it was
yeah.
It was essentially Landon Collins for Leonard Williams, right?
Well, and you're losing and you're losing a fifth. But yes, similar. Yes, but the thing is, if they spend more on a player this year, which maybe they won't, maybe they'll sign short-term deals. But if they go out and spend $20 million on Yannick Ngakoue, that is offset. You lose that compensatory pick. So that's something that comes into play as well. So I think that if they let him go, they probably will get the comp pick, if I had to guess. And they'd probably get a third-round pick. So, yeah, it would kind of negate the third-round loss somewhat, even though you lost an early third. Now you're getting a late third, but at least you get that back. But they should have signed him. They shouldn't have traded for him. But, it's a mistake. And, we'll see how Gettleman handles it this offseason.
Who do you last question, little hot seat one. I'm just very curious. I love your takes. Who, if you're picking one guy, I know it's always your thing, the right price, and I agree. Who are the Giants signing this free agency?
Conklin.
Conklin, you really think so?
If it's one
Conklin,
if it's one big guy, somebody asked me earlier who's the most likely guy.
Yeah, one big guy. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody asked me if who's the most likely guy. I actually said McCourty. I think McCourty's the most likely guy on a short-term deal, 2 years or 3 years with a 2-year opt-out. I think McCourty's, I would say, is probably going to be a Giant. I think McCourty's going to be a Giant. I think it makes sense. Joe Judge was his coach. He's still a good player, even though he's up there in age. It's not a long-term commitment. We kind of have a hole in the secondary. We could use some veteran leadership. He has basically said he would like to be a Giant. He's from New Jersey. I don't think the Patriots are going to pay him. I think McCourty makes sense on a short-term deal. I don't want to give him 4 years, but 2-year deal, I think McCourty makes a lot of sense.
Conklin. All right. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You
Big
got it.
fan of your channel. Keep posting all those great videos. I love your channel.
I really appreciate that, man. Thank you for all the support, man. Great call. Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too. All right. Let me get to Ligma's super chat real quick. Ligma, thank you so much for the $2. Oh, God. Everybody laughs at the way I say ketchup. I know it sounds wrong. He says say ketchup 10 times. Draft J.K. Dobbins at 4. I already said it twice. Ketchup. There you go, Ligma. Thank you very much for the $2 super chat. I appreciate that. And what's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in. Hello. You got a little stage fright. It happens. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, this is Mike. Hey, Mike. Hey, calling you from Craig from Seattle here. How you doing?
I'm sorry. Who is this?
Craig from Seattle. How are you, sir?
What's going on, Craig? Thanks for calling in, buddy.
Absolutely. I just want to, echo everybody else that was on there earlier stating what a great show you have. Keep up the great work, man. I'm telling you.
I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
No, absolutely. And with everything else, when I did this quick question, and I'll take your comment off the line here. I know you're really busy, and I appreciate you taking my call because you got such a big line out here. Evan Ingram, why aren't they pushing this guy out to wide receiver?
That's a great question. I get asked that a lot. I actually may make a video on that because I've been asked that question for over a year now. I've only been on YouTube for like a year and like 7 or 8 months, and pretty much since I've been on YouTube, that has been a suggestion Giants fans have made. And it's something that possibly could happen because he does have the speed. I don't know if he has the route running ability to play on the outside. But the thing with that is, I think that the only reason Evan Ingram was a first-round pick was because he was a tight end. It's because he's basically a mismatch for a linebacker or a slot corner, where if you move him to the outside, he no longer has that value. So he might be a solid wide receiver, but I don't think he's going to be a great wide receiver. I think his whole value was the fact that he could run 4-4 and line up at the tight end spot. When you move him to the outside, he's not going to be that mismatch anymore.
Well, again, great analyzation on everything, sir. I appreciate all what you're doing out there, especially being out here in Seattle. I can't stand this. The Nighthawks. They're just brutal.
Well, how did you become a Giants fan from Seattle?
I know. I grew up back east. I've been out here for almost 30 years, and grew up a Giants fan. LT used to come up to a bar, and once in a while with his entourage, and the guy was just a home run, just a class act. You go up and say hello to him. Hey, LT, how you doing? He was just a great guy. I used to see Harry Carson out there in an outdoor store I used to work at, and just another class act. These people are, true football, superstars, just incredible people.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome, man. I always love talking to Giants fans that are, from outside the state, and a lot of them are from outside the country. I have a ton of subscribers who are from England. But that's awesome, man. Glad you're a Giants fan. Glad you watched the channel. And yeah, I'm going to continue to give you a lot of coverage throughout the offseason. So
I just found you about 5 months ago, and anybody know it's a Giants fan, I said, you got to go listen to this guy. This guy's a home run all the way around. You know what I mean? The only thing I miss about New York, though, is the pizza, the Italian food, and the bagels. That's it. Everything else, it's the same what they call it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the pizza. Yeah, you leave New York, you're not getting the same pizza. That's for sure.
Oh, it's like an English muffin with, ketchup out here. It's unbelievable.
I appreciate the call, man. Thank you for being a great subscriber, man.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you so much. Keep up the great work. I'll listen to you all the time, and I appreciate you, letting me get my East Coast blabbermouth out there. You know what I mean?
You got it.
All right, my friend. You have a great day and enjoy a great future for you. Absolutely.
I really appreciate that, man. Enjoy Seattle, man, and hopefully we get a couple of wins this year for the Giants, man. Thanks for the call, buddy.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you.
You got it. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
What's going on? Who's it? Is this Alex?
Yeah, you got it, man.
What's going on, man? How you doing, Alex?
What's going on? Been a while since I spoke to you, man.
Yeah, good to hear from you, buddy. How you been?
I've been good, what do you think about the Lorenzo Carter thing? Like, we're misusing him.
Lorenzo Carter, to me, is going to be one of the more interesting players this offseason to see how Joe Judge utilizes him, because people are kind of split down the middle on Lorenzo Carter that are Giants fans on how they think he should be utilized. Some Giant fans think he should play in the middle because they feel like he's better in coverage. Some Giants fans think that he should remain on the outside because of his his long arms and his athletic ability and the possibility of getting after the quarterback. He's underperformed in that aspect this year. I think a lot of people thought he'd be the sack leader. I think he only ended up with about 4 sacks, but Carter, I think, and it was one of the first things I said when Joe Judge was named the head coach, and I heard him talk about versatility. If there's, Peppers is another one, but if there's one player on the defense that screams of versatility, it's Lorenzo Carter. This is a guy. You go back and watch last year. He was lined up in the middle. He was lined up on the outside on the D line. He was lined up on the outside. You could play him in the middle at the linebacker. He's a guy that you could move around, and he's a guy that I think Joe Judge is going to really like, Lorenzo Carter.
Yeah. I want this guy you can move around. He was not playing his best, his strongest position. We were not utilizing him to his best potential. He was not comfortable. We were not getting the most out of him, and I hope our new coaching staff can definitely get the best out of him. And I really hope he can fit in Graham's scheme, and I think he does. I read this little article today, and I think just the way his scheme lines up, the pass rushers, the way they all line up, Lorenzo Carter is a pass rusher, and he has great speed, and he can rush. He's meant to rush the passer, and he's shown great flashes over the season. And we gotta utilize his skill set, and we didn't do that, and we gotta do it. We gotta do it over.
Yeah, and what's going on, Chip Kelly, man? Glad to see you in here, fella. One of my best subscribers, even though he's an Eagles fan. We forgive him. But no, Lorenzo. One thing that I found interesting about Lorenzo Carter that I noticed the last 2 games or so, they really made it a point of emphasis to put him up at the line of scrimmage, and he was a lot more successful there. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with Carter this year. He's one of the guys I'm really looking forward to. There's a number of guys on the defense that I'm really looking forward to. DeAndre Baker's another one. I'm really excited to see what they could do with him this year and hopefully improve him. Julian Love's another one. I think Julian Love's a guy that really fits this defensive philosophy. He can play some safety, slot corner, things like that. So those are a couple of guys that I'm really looking forward to. Obviously, Dexter Lawrence. So excited to see what he could become in year 2. And O'Shane Ximines is another one. There's a lot of young, underdeveloped talent on this team that, with the proper coaching, I think could really take a big step next year. And hopefully they bring in a couple of more established pros in free agency. And I think they could have a pretty good defense. And hopefully Pepper stays healthy. So we'll see, man. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm really looking forward to getting into it, late. Once the OTAs come, that's when I start to get excited. Because I cover the team. I cover the team. I'm not like a normal fan who probably doesn't care until preseason. I got to cover every little thing. So once the OTAs start and the mandatory minicamp, I start getting excited because now I'm starting to be able to report on what's going to happen this year, reports that are coming out about the team. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this team performs this offseason with Joe Judge. And another thing I'm going to really be looking forward to is the practices and hearing about because that was one thing Joe Judge talked about in his introductory press conference, how he wants to have these intense practices and get the most out of his players. So that'll be an interesting thing to keep track of as well. So I'm really looking forward to the Giants this year and covering them. I always am, but this year with a new coaching staff especially, it's going to be a really fun year.
Yeah, I can't wait for all. First things first. The combine is, I think, a couple weeks away. I'm excited for that. I think you're streaming that, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I don't know what days I'm going to be able to do it. Based on my work schedule, but at least probably at least 2 or 3 of the days I'll do it in the morning. I know a lot of people will be working. I work nights a lot of times, but I'll definitely be streaming it a couple of times and just hanging out, talking about the combine as it's happening, answering your guys' questions, and it should be fun. Yeah, I did it last year, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I love the combine. We'll get so much more information on the players. And I'm so hyped for the NFL combine. We'll get so much more information. I really I'm excited for the combine. And are you? By the way, here's one more question. Do you think the Giants should trade down? Are you open to that?
Oh yeah. It's got to be the right price, but yes, I'm fully open to trading down. Yes.
Yeah, me too. I would not mind it for definitely the right price. For sure. Maybe what
draft pick do the Chargers have?
6.
6?
Yeah.
Could you see the Chargers trading up?
I think that's the most logical spot because you're probably still getting the guy you would have taken at 4. And you're obviously accumulating assets. And yeah, I definitely think the Chargers are going to be in the market to possibly trade up. They've already shown their hand. They need a quarterback. And I think Herbert is, I personally, some people might not agree with me. I have a hot take on the quarterback, okay? People are asking for hot takes. The quarterback in this year's draft, I actually, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that Burrow, I think, is going to Cincinnati. I like Love a lot, and I like Herbert a lot. I think Herbert is probably the safest, and he's very good. But I think Love actually might have the highest ceiling. He also probably has the lowest floor, but I like Love a lot. Herbert is a guy that I think is worth trading up for if you're the Chargers, and I think they will. I think he's going to have a really good combine, and I think they're going to end up trading up for him. I really do.
I think we both might be right. I think the Chargers very well. I think that Herbert could be their guy. Honestly, that could be their guy. But if we don't trade down, give me Isaiah Simmons, or either Andrew Thomas. I'm fine with you, one or the other.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it plays out, though. There's a huge offseason for the Giants with the cap space and the draft, so I can't wait to see how it plays out. You know, Alex, but I'm going to let you go because I got a couple people calling in trying to get as many as I can, but I just want to say keep up the great work over there. I know I don't go over there as much as I used to. I'm just always busy between my job and putting in videos, but just keep doing what you do, man. Keep supporting the Giants, man.
Thank you so much, man, and keep making the videos. I'll keep watching them.
You got it, Alex, man. Thanks for the call, buddy.
Thank you.
Have a good one. All right. 1 second. Just want to get this super chat, man. Peter, thanks so much, man, for the. What's going on, King Heavy? Thanks for popping in. Hot Nichols in the house. Thanks for being here. $5 super chat from Peter. He says, dream scenario: Chase Young falls to the Giants as Washington and Detroit trade out. What do you think? Yeah, somebody brought that up earlier. It would take a lot. And I know that there's rumors that are starting to circulate about Washington. I'll believe it when I see it. But yeah, if that happened on draft night, Peter, you would see me fall to the floor and faint and be extremely excited. It would be the exact opposite of my draft reaction last year. I don't see it happening, Peter, but I'd be very happy if it did. I won't rule anything out. It's possible, but not likely. But thank you for the love, man. I appreciate it. What's going on, man? Thanks for calling in, buddy.
Well.
Who's this? I should know this from the voice. Who is this?
Oh my goodness, you don't know who it is?
Oh, now I know. What's going on, Mike? How you doing, buddy?
What is going on, brother? I finally caught you, man.
What's going on, man?
Caught you. Good. Not much. So before I talk Giants, I just want to tell you a little story about how I got thrown out of my first. So we had a 7-on-7 like little scrimmage thing down in South Carolina, right, for the team and whatnot. And so there was a questionable call, and I got a little heated, and I said I got thrown out the game for calling the ref a biased prick.
Well, that would probably get you thrown out of the game. That probably was not the best of ideas, Mike.
No, but you know what? You know what, though? I figure I'm a coach. I need to get thrown out just once. You know what I mean?
So what? So what's up, man? What's going on, man?
Not much, man. I'm enjoying it. I'm just piping on the feet right now, just for this off season, man. I can't wait.
Oh yeah.
All the news that's circulating. By the way, I'm gonna halt all rumors right now because I read a little thing on Bleacher Report that the Lions GM said them trading Stafford is 100% false. I've seen that this morning.
I don't see it. Anything's possible. I mean, Dave Gettleman said we're not trading Beckham, and look what he did. So nobody's gonna show their hand, but I don't see it. I
could see the Redskins. I could possibly see it because, I mean, if you really look at it, they kind of do already have kind of their edge. Isn't Montez Sweat technically like an edge outside linebacker type player?
No, he is. Not technically. He is Montez Sweat.
I mean, I know adding Chase Young would be phenomenal, but I could see, especially, I don't know if you've seen the rumors about Miami possibly trading the number 2 to get Tua at 2 instead of like trading with the Lions. But I could see a situation. That does happen, and the Lions don't go Chase and they take Okudah. Because I'm hearing they're kind of high on him.
Well, I think a lot of people are high on Okudah. Listen, man. I think Giants fans are dreaming. I hope and pray.
No, I trust me. I don't think it's going to happen either. But like you said, if it does happen, I think both of us are going to be on the floor, so I won't be able to resuscitate you if you faint.
Hey, yeah, no.
I'm going to be looking for someone to resuscitate me.
Chip Kelly, man, thanks for the love, man. I just want to shout out this before I lose it. $5 Super Chat. Benzini says, I think the Giants are a wild card team next year, narrowly losing the division to my Birds. I think Eagles have one good last season before they blow it up, man. Chip, man, thank you so much for the love, man. Listen, man, I hope you're right, man. I hope you're right. But I'll definitely agree with the second part of that statement. I do think that the Eagles have one more year left in them, maybe 2. But yes, I think you're going to come to a point with the way that your GM has backloaded those contracts that you're going to have to pay the piper, and it will cost you. But I still think the Eagles are in contention for at least 1, if not 2 more years.
Yeah, I'm excited for the combine, and since I know you're busy and whatnot, I'll mention give you a little headline on that player I wanted you to discuss, just in case you don't end up doing the video, because I know you said that people really haven't been watching, which is terrible.
No. I'm gonna do them. I'm gonna do them.
Because I was just looking. I look at mock drafts every day, and so I seen one that went deep into like the 5th round, and that's where I seen him. His name Calvin Throckmorton. He can play center, he can play guard, and he can play the offensive tackle position. And I find that very interesting because, like Joe just said, he wants versatility. Well, there you go, right there. You got all of the traits, dude, that can play anywhere on the line.
Well, what I'm probably gonna do, I'm waiting until after the combine to do like deeper draft stuff, because that's when I think everything's gonna even itself out. I'm just trying to get a little head start on guys that I think could be second round draft picks, things like that. But I'm probably gonna start doing 7-round mock drafts after I'm gonna do definitely a first round mock draft like I did earlier after the combine. Then I'll do one after free agency, and then I'll do 1 or 2 before the draft. But I'm also going to start to do just Giant-specific 7-round mock drafts where, I'll probably do, who they take at 1 and 36 and whatnot, and then I'll just mention a couple of prospects in each draft slot that I think the Giants could take in rounds 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So that's probably how I'm going to break it down.
But now I'll ask my question, because I know you got some people, so I just want to get my question out there. So, what do you think in a situation that I'm gonna say, okay, so say we don't go edge rusher at all in the free agency, but we do, say we get Cochran, right? Say at 4 we take Thomas or Wills or whatever one they want to get, and then in the 2nd round, if he's sitting there, we take Cushenberry, the center.
I like Cushenberry. He's moving up draft charts. I've watched some film on him. I got to do a little more research on him, but things I've read and seen on Cushenberry, I like Cushenberry, and I am a big fan, regardless of what we do at 6, of going center in round 2. I think our center, I think Halapio was awful, and if you could get one of those centers there, whether it's him or Biades or however you pronounce his name, the guy from Wisconsin, I think it makes a lot of sense, depending on who's there, depending on what we do, but I think that's a very viable option for the Giants at 36, is the center spot.
And because, like you said, I know edge is a dire need, but especially because what Garrett's running now, if we could go get Cochran and just get 2 more linemen in the first couple rounds, even look at last year, we got Osei Jimenez, and he didn't do terrible for us. You know what I mean? So you can always find somebody within like the 3rd, 4th, 5th rounds that could produce it. You know what I mean? All they need is just that chance. You know.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see, man. I think that they'll probably go defense, offense their first 2 picks. I don't think that they'll double up it either. And I'm still down for us. I know you talked the Chargers. I know you talked the Panthers. I'm still down to go trade down with the Raiders and get both them picks. 12 and 19. Yeah, maybe 12, 19 and a third, something like that. I mean,
That's exactly what I'm saying, because we need honestly, we need to get an early third round pick back. We can't just sit there and wait till like the end of the third round when we have our comp pick. But even because Gettleman has definitely traded up, but can we trust that he will in the third round? You know what I mean?
We'll see, man. We'll see.
That's why I would love to just get an early third, and even have that late third, and don't trade that away, and it will set us up. You know what I mean?
In an ideal world, if you trade down to 12 and 19, you hope, in my opinion, one of those 4 offensive linemen falls to you at 12. Yeah. And then you take probably a pass rusher at 19, and then you could take your center at 36. That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
I know it might be a pipe dream, but a lot of mocks I have been seeing have Isaiah Simmons now fallen to the Raiders a lot at 12.
I'll tell you what, man, I wouldn't be shocked at all. I'm not projecting that right now because I think Simmons is going to have a good combine. I wouldn't be shocked at all if Simmons drops outside the top 7 or 8. I wouldn't be shocked at all.
Because you got so many teams that could easily trade up, whether they get a quarterback, or if that offensive lineman that they want is right there, they might just go up and get him just in case somebody else doesn't get him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so many people within that top 10 that can just trade up at any given point.
Yeah, man, we'll see, man. But, Mike, I got to let you go. I got a couple people calling in, trying to get as many people as I can.
It's always good talking to you, and I guess I'll see you later on.
I'll definitely be over in the Discord, man. Thank you for the call, man. I appreciate it, Mike.
All right, always good talking to you, man. Before I go, I'm going to plug you. Everybody that hasn't yet, please subscribe to this man. This dude is awesome. He puts out great content. He busts his ass. He goes to work for hours on end, and still tries to puts out great content for us. Everybody who hasn't, please sub this guy up. He's awesome. He's a brother to me, and I just love you, Tanner. You're my boy.
I appreciate that, Mike, man. Thank you very much, man, for being a great supporter of the channel, man. I appreciate that, buddy. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good one, man.
All right, you too, brother.
All right. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in. Who's this?
Hey, this is Brandon from upstate New York.
What's going on, Brandon, man? Thanks for calling in, buddy.
Oh, no problem. Basically, I just want to ask you a few questions. Number one, who would you pursue for your top free agents if you're the Giants? Say if you're Dave Gettleman.
Yeah.
Top free agents, who would you pursue?
Yeah, no, I mean, if we're just talking big names, Conklin's far and away number 1 for me. Conklin, if he's available, he's my guy. That's my number 1 guy. If we're talking more value, I wouldn't mind Van Noy on a short deal. I wouldn't mind McCourty on a short deal. I don't want to spend huge at the corner position, but if I could find some value at the corner position, I think that could be important. Maybe some depth on the offensive line outside of Conklin. I think that's what you're looking at in free agency, something along those lines. I mean, maybe if you could get some value at the linebacker. I think Littleton's going to get overpaid as much as I like him. He's one of my favorite guys in this year's free agency class, but I think he's going to get overpaid. But if you could find maybe some value at the linebacker spot. I'm looking value, though. I'm not looking for big names that really outside of Conklin. I'm looking more for value.
Yeah. That's obviously after hopefully we sign Leonard Williams to a cheaper deal than what he wants. He wants Aaron Donald money. There's no way he's going to get that.
Yeah, oh, no. I'm hoping, in an ideal world, 4 years, $48 million. I think that's fair. $12 million a year. That's what I'm hoping. He's probably going to get more, but I'm hoping for 11.5, 12, maybe $12.5 million a year. I think that's a fair price. I think he's going to shoot for at least 14 per year.
Yeah. What do you think of the Giants pursuing Demarcus Robinson for a deep threat, a wide receiver?
Yeah. A couple people. Listen, I like him as a player. I think he's a good player, but at the end of the day, I think that the Giants have so many holes in more important areas. And if he's going to go for $8 or $9 million, I stay away. They can't afford to be spending $8 or $9 million on a wide receiver. They just can't. And I think in the end, he's going to get close to that based on his age and his upside. If you get him for $5 million a year, go for it. I just don't think you're going to. And I would stay away based on the price that I think he's probably going to command. I think that you need to fill the more important holes in free agency, whether it's the offensive line, the pass rusher, the corner, the safety, the middle linebacker. That's what I think you got to be looking at.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we got to fill in those positions, especially the O-line. I mean, that's just been atrocious for the past, I don't know how many years.
Yeah.
But I got to say, Kevin Zeitler, he's definitely one of the guys that I was very happy with the Odell trade. He's a pretty good offensive lineman. I really like him.
Yeah, Zeitler, I like that trade from the start. I thought it was a steal when Olivier Vernon. I actually, to be fair, I always thought Olivier Vernon was a little bit underrated as a Giant. I think Giants fans hated him a little more than he deserved, but he was injury prone. He was a pretty good all around player. He was good against the run. He was a solid pass rusher. But the Giant, he didn't have much left in the tank. He was coming off an injury. He was making a lot of money, and you got a solid guard at a position where you really needed the help. I was a big fan of bringing in Zeitler when they did with that trade. I thought that they robbed the Browns, and it's probably a big reason why the Browns fired their GM. Was that trade. Because you saw how it affected the offensive line, losing Zeitler. Baker Mayfield struggled mightily his second year. So, yeah, I was a big fan of getting Zeitler. He was solid for the Giants this year.
Yeah, I really liked him. All right, so one more question, I'll let you go.
Oh, thank you. I just want to say thank you so much, Mike Nixon, man. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you for becoming a member of the channel, man. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. But go ahead, buddy.
So assuming the Giants trade back with the Chargers at 6, who would you want the Giants to draft if you could decide right now?
Right now, see, I don't know what they did in free agency right now. That's the thing. But without knowing what they did in free agency, I think they're mostly right now. That's without knowing if we get Conklin or not. I would want the tackle. I think that's their most pressing need, being that they have a second-year quarterback. You're trying to establish a ground game with Saquon Barkley. The offensive line's been incredibly underwhelming. You have a lot of holes. It's an old offensive line outside of Hernandez. I would want to take a tackle, whether that's Wills or whether that's Andrew Thomas, at number 6 if we trade it down right now, before I know what they do in free agency.
Right, yeah. Do you think we'll get an extra second-round pick if we trade the Chargers?
Yes. Yes. We better be. 100%. 37 and probably a future second. That's what I'm asking for if I'm trading down with the Chargers. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
right, well, man, it's been a pleasure, and I'm a huge Giants fan, and I mean, hope for the best this year. I'm not expecting a lot, but, if it's better than last year, I'll take it.
Hey, man, I go into every year optimistic. Football's a funny game. Anything could happen. You get a couple of bounces go your way, and, we'll see what happens, man. All I'm hoping for is some progress, and, we'll see where the team goes, man. I'm really looking forward to this year. I look forward to every year, and I think it's going to be an exciting year. We may not make the playoffs, but I think it's going to be a fun and exciting year, and I think Giants fans should be excited about it. I think we got a young team, that's emerging with a young coaching staff. So hopefully we're building this team towards long-term success, not just 1 year like we did in 2016, which I think they are.
Yeah, that was a disaster.
Yeah. But, man, I appreciate the call, man. Thank you for being a great subscriber and a great Giant fan. All right, man. Have a good one, buddy. Have a good one. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in.
Hello?
Hello. Who's this?
This is the sports influencer / Slurpee, as
What?
you like to call him.
What is going on, Slurpee? How you doing? Did you do any more 50 round mock drafts today, or you took a day off?
I'm in progress. They take a while.
What's up, buddy?
So, yeah, you probably know I'm probably going to talk draft. Have you ever heard of the wide receiver Michael Pittman out of USC?
Yeah. I like him. I like him as a 4th round target.
Yeah, the Vollenikoff, nominee, I really like him. I think that he will be a good option for the Giants because he's more of a tall guy who can go up and get balls. Also great off the pre-snaps and beating defenders in one-on-one coverage. I really think he's a good guy, like a Justin Jefferson, but kind of a higher round type guy, like a 3rd and maybe 4th rounds. I've been going at pick 132. I really think he's a stud who we could snag later in the draft.
Yeah, I think that somebody was talking. We talked about Pittman earlier, and that's where I think you want to be drafting a receiver in this year's draft. There's the 4th, the 5th round. And Pittman's one of the guys, whether it's Gandy Golden, Pittman. There's a few guys, Claypool, but a lot of people like Pittman. And, I think he is being a little bit underrated from everything I've read and seen, what people say about him and what I've seen on film. He's a solid wide receiver, and as deep as a wide receiver draft class this is, that's what you want. You want to try to get value out of that position. I think this is a prime draft to be able to do that. To get a solid receiver like that in the 4th round would be huge for the Giants, and I think that they're going to have the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, and now going off of what one of the earlier callers said, trading with the Oakland Raiders for that 12-19 and maybe a second rounder. I really like that pick because I've told you in the Discord before that I think really highly of either a Patrick Queen or a Clavon Chasen type, both two great LSU players. I think that if we could get like an Andrew Thomas at pick 12 and we could snag a Patrick Queen to maybe fall, or maybe Clavon Chasen if he falls somehow to pick 19, that would be perfect. I'd really like to pick 12 and pick 19 value that we could get for that 4th pick, because we could assess our needs with some really solid players.
Yeah, I was doing a little research on Queen today. I'm a big fan of Chasen, especially for this team. That's a guy that is fully capable of playing in both the 3-4 and the 4-3. One of the more versatile players in this year's draft. I'm a huge fan of him. Queen, I think that might be a little early. I think if you get him at 36, he's certainly a guy that should be on your radar. But as far as Chasen goes, yeah, I would. That's a good. If you could ever get Andrew Thomas at 12, which I don't think you'd be able to. I personally think mocks are underrating him a bit right now. I think Andrew Thomas is going to go back up towards the top when it's all said and done. But if you get Chasen and a Wirfs maybe, or a really good offensive tackle there, that's a good duo there. If you trade down with the Raiders for sure.
Yeah, I really like them, and I really like Kinlaw, but you never know with Gettleman. You always like these.
I like Kinlaw, but we can't be taking another D tackle.
Yeah. And then Julian Okora, I know you made a video on him today. I really am in love with Okora, and I think that really in the combine he's just going to impress everyone, and I think he's going to be a top 20, top 25 pick, definitely in the draft, and maybe even a top 3, top 4 edge rusher. Definitely.
I think Okwara, if I had to put my finger on one guy that I think, from a pass rusher standpoint, that I think the combine is going to help his stock the most, it's him. I think he's going to have a really good combine. I think he's going to move up draft charts. I think he's going to be in the mid to back end of the 1st round. I don't think he gets to the Giants. That's just my opinion. I could be completely wrong. I've been wrong before, but when I watch that guy on tape, I think he's a really good athlete. I think he's going to blow away a couple of teams, and I think he will go in the back end of the 1st round. I don't think he gets to the Giants at 36.
Yeah, and then final thing that I'll leave off on at pick 36, my 2 guys to watch, obviously Zach Bond and then Curtis Weaver, a guy that I really don't see going to the Giants at that pick a lot out of Boise State. I really think he's a stud and definitely someone to watch there at pick 36.
Weaver is definitely he's not as sexy to me as the kid from Notre Dame, but he has the production, and he seems to be the type of guy, if Gettleman's going to go with a pass rusher there, that Gettleman likes. He's more of a polished football player. That seemed to be the types of guys he went after last year, so I could see him as well. I could definitely see the Giants taking Weaver at 36. That's a possibility as well.
Yeah, well, hey, Chris, if you ever need help with the mock drafts, you got me in the Discord. By the way, everyone, Chris does have a Twitter. I know he doesn't shout that out a lot, so go follow him on Twitter. And, yeah, thank you for having me on your show. You've been awesome.
I appreciate that, Slurp, man. Thank you for being such a great supporter to my channel. And, yeah, man, best of success. Keep growing on yours, man. We'll definitely keep working hard on those mock drafts.
All right, thank you. Have a nice one.
You got it, Slurp. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in.
Oh my God! I've been calling in since 8:30. God damn it!
Well, you got. Is this the Booty Man?
Of course it is. Of course it is.
What's going on, my man? How you been, buddy?
Oh, it's been fantastic. Oh my God! Oh yeah. So. Oh my God!
Detonator, big Jet fan. What do you?
Of course.
I'm curious to see, and you're pretty well informed about your team. What I know you guys have about, what do you have, about 50, 55 in cap space?
I think, yeah, we're around like 56, 57 around cap space. Yeah, somewhere around that area. I want free agency to be a big offensive lineman kind of thing going around there.
Yeah.
And if we strike out an offensive lineman, like you say, like we didn't really get like anything good out of it, then we draft one first round with the 11th pick in 2020.
Let me ask you this. Say you miss out on, say you don't get a big time offensive lineman in free agency, and you're picking at 11, and say the top 3 O-linemen on your board are off. Do you still take the tackle, or do you take Judy?
To be honest, that is a real tough one. Depending on how big the skill level is, I haven't done a bunch of draft research ever since college started back up and stuff like that. But it depends how big the gap is between the third and fourth player of skill on the offensive lineman. If it's an offensive lineman that like the top 3 are just the best in the thing, and then it really drops off, then of course take Judy or Lamb. I prefer Judy over Lamb. That's just my opinion. So, I mean, yeah, that's my opinion on it. So, depending on how big the skill level is between the two would determine that. I still think Judy is the safer pick if it comes to that. I don't see us drafting anybody on defense this year on the first round. So, that's something I can say that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what you're looking at with the Jets when I've done, when I've looked at the mocks. I think the Jets are either going offensive tackle or they're going to go with a wide receiver. I think those are your two options. Because they got to do everything they can to help Sam Darnold out. They have a pretty strong defense, but they have to fix that offensive line. They neglected it last year when they had the cap space. It's gonna be interesting. I think that if I had to guess, I think the Jets try to spend as much as they can on the offensive line in free agency, whether it's the center position or whatever. I don't know what your biggest liability is right now, but I think you try to fill in that offensive line in free agency, and I think you're gonna probably try to get CeeDee Lamb or Judy in the draft. Especially being that you're going to more than likely lose Robbie Anderson to free agency.
Yeah, I'm not going to say like, ooh, if we lose Robbie Anderson. He's not been the production that we all expect him. We kept on making excuses for him season by season, and it's just I wanted to be done over with. I don't think he's going to be worth a $12 million per year deal, not at all. And if he demands that, I say just let him walk. Bring in a rookie that that's going to, really do well for the next 5 years, pay him off, have him cheap, spend the money on like players like Jamal Adams, who's probably going to get paid quite lucratively, I believe.
Yeah, he's going to get paid. He's going to get paid.
And deserving so. I mean, he just made All-Pro this past year, and he just made the second Pro Bowl of his 3-year career so far. So, I mean.
Let me ask you real quick, obviously from a Giants fan's perspective. What do you think about, because obviously you got to watch him play his first 4 years in the league or whatever. What do you think about Leonard Williams? If you were the Giants, would you sign him to a long-term deal, or would you let him walk? What do you think about Leonard Williams?
All right, so if I'm looking at a Giants perspective, if you want a guy who's going to be a great run stopper but not get out the quarterback and not make a lot of production at the quarterback, then sure, sign him, but don't give him lots of money. For a Jets fan, I'm saying extend them so we get that 4th-round pick. But no, but if it is from a Giants perspective, I mean, we saw this from the 4 years he was here. As you said, we drafted him in 2015. We thought he was going to be this big monster. He had a great rookie season, 7.5 sacks, and after that, it just went downhill. And I'm not sure what to blame that mostly on. I just blame it, mostly on him. He was always great at setting up others to make the play. He was never a playmaker. He was always the setup for someone else making the play, which isn't bad, but that means that you're dependent on your teammates also, getting there as well. And then, so from a Giants perspective, I don't actually think he's worth it, to be completely honest. I'm not a big fan of Leonard Williams, like as I used to be. And it's not just because he got traded. Like during the last 2.5 seasons, it was just painful to watch him. And people used to make the excuse, and I was guilty of this, saying, oh, we got double teamed every play, got double teamed every play, got double teamed every play. You look back at a tape, he didn't get double teamed every play. There'd be times where he's just on the ground and he just doesn't get up. He just quits on the play. He just slowly jogs and doesn't chase after the play. He's just lost that mentality of, getting after the play. Even, it's not over till the whistle's blown, right? And you're just never good at that. So on the Giants' perspective, I think just let him walk and see what you can do with him. If not, I mean, as I again say, don't sign him to anything big. Maybe like a 2-3 year deal for probably $8 to $9 million, $9.5 million each.
Yeah, the problem is he's going to get more than that. The problem is Gettleman put himself in this position. I think the Giants are going to have to sign him. We'll see.
Thank you for that 4th round pick.
We'll see. I like Leonard Williams. I do like his versatility, but I think we're going to have to overpay a little bit to keep him. But like you said, he's not a playmaker. That's a great description that you said about him. He's not a playmaker. He's a guy that collapses the pocket. He gets very good pressure up the middle, but he's not going to be the guy that gets you the sacks. He may make it easier for guys on the outside to get sacks by flushing the quarterback out of the pocket. He's a guy that sets up the plays for others. He's not a big sack guy. That's a good description. Which you need. You need players like that on your team. I just don't know if he's going to be. I don't know if he's going to be worth what he's going to command as a free agent. But
and you don't give those type of players big money. That's not the type of players you give big money to. He's always like Mr. 1 second late, Mr. Invisible Man, and stuff like that. And I mean, yeah, he was just frustrating sometimes to watch. Like him just fall on the ground, just be like, I'm gonna play dead, and just stay down on the ground, and it was.
Well, that's what a lot of Jet fans tell me. Now, what I will say, John May said it. I think if you do get a better supporting cast, and I think part of the reason why Leonard Williams played better earlier on with the New York Jets had more to do with the fact that you guys had a much better supporting cast. You had Sheldon Richardson when he was playing well, and you had Wilkerson, right? So you guys had a better supporting cast. I think that lended to Leonard Williams playing better. I do think if the Giants can improve the defensive line and improve the defense as a whole, maybe you will see Leonard Williams get home a little more. He's a good player. I just don't think he's a great player. So that's my take on Leonard Williams.
Now, to talk about the most important thing, the Pro Bowl. All right, so this year was fantastic. This year.
Oh, God.
I donated you so much money just to talk about the Pro Bowl this year. And you never even did the stream.
I know. I had to work. I had to work that day.
Yeah. It was also the same day that the whole Kobe incident happened as well. So I was like, he's not streaming today.
Yeah, I did.
So like that made the Pro Bowl suckish, and I also had to work that day too. So now I just like it just kicked it underneath the dirt. I'm like, God damn it, it's just some bull. Oh my God. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, as a Jets fan, look at the Giants. I do not think I heard someone say it before. I do not think you guys are gonna make a playoff run this year. Potentially next year, I can see that. But in all seriousness, I think you guys are really starting to build in the right direction.
I do. I agree with you. I think that the Giants are headed in the right direction. I think they just got to continue to remain patient and continue to build through the draft and do it the right way. I'm very encouraged by the future of this team. I really am. We'll see.
And the reason should be.
Yeah. I mean, they've drafted very well the last 2 years in my opinion, especially last year. So, it's gonna ride and die with Daniel Jones, and Daniel Jones looked solid last year. So I think that gave Giants fans a lot of hope.
Yeah, the only thing that you guys have that we don't is that you have a competent coach. If the Jets had a competent coach and not one that just looks like he's gonna like murder you in your sleep every night. I mean, it's just. It's Adam Gase, goddamn. I mean, to be fair, Sam Darnold just beat Daniel Jones in some cornhole, which I appreciate. As a cornhole player extraordinaire myself, I go to family parties and they all kick me out because I'm just too good. That happens. I understand. All right.
That was a funny video. I actually watched that when the two quarterbacks went out in cornhole. Yeah, man, but I gotta let you go because I'm gonna try to get a couple more in. It's getting late, but I just want to say, Detonator man, you're the freaking man. I had a blast meeting you at the Giant Jet game, and hopefully we could set something up again this year, man. But thank you, man, for the call, man. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, no problem. Thank you so much.
You got it, buddy. Have a good one. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in.
Well. If it isn't the entertainer talking sports.
What's going on? What's going on? Who's this?
Take a wild guess.
Take a while. I'm so bad at. I haven't done the call-in show in a while. Well. I don't know. Who is it? I know I'm gonna say I knew it when you say it. Who is it?
Well, who's the guy that Bad Dog always says Sam Darnold stinks to?
Oh, Gangrene David. Another back-to-back Jet fans. What's going on, Gangrene? How you doing, buddy?
Well, I've had a rough day today, but how you been, man? I haven't talked to you in a minute.
Yeah, no, glad to hear from you, man. Just hanging out, man, taking calls tonight. Talking a lot of draft. And yeah, man, I'm going to try to do these more often. I've just been obviously I've been doing a lot of videos and, work's been tedious the last couple of weeks. Been working a lot, been picking up extra shifts. But, yeah, man, I'm glad to be live, glad to be talking football, and glad to be talking to you, man.
Well, yeah, dude, I mean, I had to take a tiny little break from making videos because as soon as football season ended, I just got busy for the last couple of months, especially when it came to swimming. But luckily, things are starting to slow down, and now it could finally just kind of settle in. I'm back to uploading content more frequently, and I got low expectations as a Jet fan heading into free agency because I was listening to Detonator's call, and I kind of would have to disagree with some of the things he said, because one thing that he doesn't take into account is we have a lot of money, but we also have a lot of holes on the roster. I mean, we will have about $70 million in cap space, but look at what you're going to have to address. You're probably going to have to address one or two corners. You're going to have to get a whole new offensive line. You're probably going to need one or two receivers. You're probably going to need two running backs to back up Le'Veon Bell. You need a pass rusher, and you're still looking at extending Jamal Adams. So you have cap space, but with these holes, it's not going to be addressed in one season.
I think, I try to remain optimistic with you guys. I always say I don't hate the Jets. I'm being completely honest with you. I think you guys really screwed up last year. I never liked the way that you spent that money last year in free agency. I thought you did not spend it the right way, and I pray that my Giants don't do the same thing, and I don't think they will. But signing Le'Veon Bell last year was a horrible idea. And I know it sells jerseys, and I know that you guys are looking to help out your quarterback. You
can't really blame Le'Veon Bell, though. I mean, I'm
not blaming Le'Veon Bell. He took what he could get. But with as poor of an offensive line as you guys had, to me, it didn't make sense to pay a running back $13, $14, $15 million a year.
Well, I mean, we brought him in here to kind of grow with Sam Darnold, but it was, I think, the big mistake that people are overlooking is the fact that we hired Adam Gase. The guy heavily misused Le'Veon Bell. He made no adjustments, especially when it came to trying to protect Sam. Sam Darnold almost kept getting killed. I'm surprised that he's still even alive in the first place. And we were ranked literally dead last in offense. Like, he did less with more, and it's pretty unfortunate. So I think this offseason what we're going to have to do is, if this Joe Douglas guy is our offensive lineman master that we claim that he is, I want to see how he's going to be able to market free agents to come in here. And that's why all the questions about extending Jamal Adams are kind of on the rise, because everyone loves Jamal Adams. I mean, he's a great player. He's an all-pro. He's the best safety in the league. And you extend him, he's pretty much your number one recruiting tool at that point, because there's not really a lot of marketable assets that the Jets really have to get guys to come in here. You're probably going to have to pay what a lot of people call the Jets tax. You're going to have to overpay for guys to come here.
Yeah, and that's not what you want to do. That's not how you win. To me, you guys got to build through the draft. You guys should not be spending big money on free agents. That's just my opinion.
But we also don't have 30 draft picks.
You don't.
Miami Dolphins do.
No, you don't. You don't. I do not like building through free agency like you guys have done the last 2 years. You guys have spent $400 million the last 2 years in free agency. And you look at what the Steelers do. That team never spends in free agency. Look what the Patriots do. They'll spend a piece here and there, but they don't splurge like that. I just don't think that's the sound approach to winning this league. And when you do spend in free agency, I don't agree with spending it on $10 million a year on a slot wide receiver, $14 million a year on a running back. C.J. Mosley, you guys vastly overpaid. I just don't, and I don't hate the Jets. I root for the Jets. I don't like the way that you guys have operated the last couple of years in free agency.
Well, I mean, last year C.J. Mosley was kind of a guy that some Jets fans were willing to break the bank for, but he got hurt. And no.
He did get hurt. He did get hurt. No doubt about it. I think that you got first. You guys signed the guy from the Vikings. What's his name? Barr, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys signed a linebacker from the Vikings, and he backed out, and then you signed Mosley. I thought you paid him $17 million a year. I don't know. But, it is what it is. Hopefully it works out for you guys. Again, I don't hate the Jets. I'm rooting for the Jets. And to me, this year, with your free agency money, you got to spend it on the O-line. That's what you got to do. You got to shore up that offensive line for Sam Darnold.
Well, I think it's probably going to come to a scenario where I think you're going to probably have to go for one of the guards. I'm looking particularly at Joe Thuney from the Patriots, also kind of staring at Brandon Sheriff. And then I'm willing to go tackle in the draft because these offensive linemen, you're gonna pay out of your nose, especially for a tackle. Like with the guard, like it's more affordable to try to actually get a guard than it is to get a tackle.
Oh, of course.
But a lot of these offensive linemen, like so many teams are desperate, especially if they have young quarterbacks. They're gonna be willing to try to go after these guys. So it's gonna be a tough competition to deal with in free agency for these offensive linemen. And then you better hope and pray that these three tackles can fall to the Jets at pick number 11 because we don't really have the capital to trade up to get one of the top offensive tackles.
Yeah, and I think they will. I think one of those guys will be there when you pick. I think Becton will probably be there when you pick. Right now, I mean, things could change, but I think you'll have the opportunity to take Becton if you want him.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to say the least, but you got too many holes on the roster. But this offseason, it's particularly offense, mainly offensive line. That's really what I'm looking at this offseason. And then since the receivers draft class is incredibly stacked, I'm probably looking at a receiver in the later rounds, like maybe the second round.
Yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. You guys could still take Judy. I actually had you guys take Judy in my first mock. I wouldn't be shocked at all if the Jets decide to do that. But I think you either go receiver, offensive tackle in the first round, and I think I don't think you have a choice. I think you try to attack the center and the guard potentially in free agency. But
I actually like our center. Our center's not that bad. Our center's actually pretty solid. I would actually keep him around.
All right, then guard maybe, but whatever. I think you try to. If I'm the Jets, I try to attack two offensive line positions in free agency. I think the bulk of your free agency money should be spent on that because I think you I think you neglected it last year when you missed out on Morse. Right, you missed out on Morse and
Paredes.
Yeah, Matt Paredes. Yeah, so that. You can't do that again. You have to make sure you get you shore up that offensive line for Darnold and Bell. That's got to be the primary objective this year.
Yeah, and they're also looking at extending Jamal.
Yeah, exactly. But Dave,
so
man,
we're
go ahead.
We're gonna have our hands full this offseason.
Well, so are we. So are we, man. We got Giants and Jets. Both have a lot of holes to fill this offseason. But I'm gonna let you go, man, because I got a couple of people calling in, trying to get as many people as I can. I just want to say thank you for being a great supporter. It was a pleasure meeting you as well at the Jet-Giant game. And, hopefully we can do that again this year.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a blast, man. And hopefully we can do that again. I might be doing a Met game this year, maybe a Met-Yankee game. That'd be cool to do a meetup for that. But
I'm down.
Yeah. But, Dave, man, thank you so much for the call, man. I appreciate that, buddy.
Dude, awesome, man. And tune in to Bad Dog Stream. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're going to be on it, and I'll be on it, so I'll see you Saturday. I'll see you Saturday night.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I got to text Bad Dog. I'm working till 11 tomorrow, but I'll pop on there at some point for sure.
All right. Take care, Chris. Have a good night.
You got it, man. Thanks for the call, buddy. What's going on?
BKS1 Radio TV.
Hello?
How about I stick a fork in your eye?
How about you stick a fork in my eye? That was the first prank call of the night. Always appreciate those. I would prefer not to have a fork stuck in my eye. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in.
Yo. It's the #1 Chargers hater here.
Uh-oh. The lunatic himself, Chris Sinor, is on the line, and it's good that we got the Chargers intel on the line, being that we might be looking to make a move with you guys soon.
Nah, I hate this team so much. But talking. I don't want to make it Chargers based because I know you're a Giants YouTuber. So, I'll just go to the draft. I don't want y'all taking my second pick. I want my second rounder. I don't want to give you 37. I want Austin Jackson. I just want Austin Jackson or Jones from Houston. I don't want to give that second round pick. I want to keep that and give you all.
What are you gonna give me then? You're moving up from 6 to 4. What do you give me, Sonor?
So I'll give you a third. Okay, I'll give you a third this draft. I'll give you a first and a second next year.
Whoa! No, deal.
Yeah, I'm being too gracious, bruh.
Wait. You're telling me you're giving me next year's first along with the first this year? That's all I need. You don't got to even give me anything else. You give me next year's first round pick. And I'll trade down to 6. Give me next.
I'll give you a third. I'll give you a third next year too. I'll give you a third next year.
A first and a third.
Yeah, first and a third this year.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it right now. Get
it done. Get it done.
Call your GM. I'll call Gatterman. We'll sign the paper right now.
All right, yeah, right now. Well, I'll finalize the deal. Don't worry. I got it all under control.
So you're excited about Herbert, huh? You think he's the real deal?
Personally, I like my quarterback to balance out on mobility and passing. So I really like Herbert. He's able to, he runs what he has to. He's not like Lamar Jackson. I don't like Lamar Jackson. So he's not like Lamar Jackson. He's more of he's sort of like a Carson Wentz in a way that he has an arm, like he can throw downfield, but he escapes to the pocket when he has to. Like when, right tackle falls, and they're pressing from the right, he's gonna go left. He's gonna move out of the pocket.
How about Daniel Jones? You see some similarities with Daniel Jones?
I see. The only thing with Daniel Jones, I think that Herbert is more. He's a little bit more talkative on the line. I think he likes to talk a little bit more. Kind of call out blitzes and stuff like that. And something Daniel Jones he doesn't do. So I think Herbert is more. He kind of like. Every quarterback looks at it differently, but I think Herbert is he looks at the game really uniquely. Like he has like a vision for reading defenses, reading blitz and stuff like that. I really like Herbert. So I think he's similar to Daniel Jones. I think they both have similar arm strength. They can air it down the field, and they have the same mobility. So I get the similarities, but I think Herbert's he's smarter than. He might be smarter than most quarterbacks in the NFL, and, I'm going to say that with confidence right now. So I love Herbert. I want Herbert. If I don't get Herbert, I'll turn into a Giants fan. There you go. If I don't get Herbert, if I get Tua, I'm going to be so mad. I'll turn into a Giants fan right there and there. I'll break out an Eli Manning jersey. Forget about Rivers. Eli Manning's the GOAT. I'll be a Charger. I'll be a Giants fan.
We'll welcome you with open arms, Sonor. And I want to say happy birthday to Nations, man. Happy birthday, man. Glad to hear it's your birthday, man.
Shoot, Nations, happy birthday.
Great subscriber over there with Nations, but no, I agree with you. Actually, I think Herbert. The more I see of Herbert, the more I like about him. I think I tell you what, man. I think Herbert's gonna be the best quarterback in this draft. I think it's either gonna be Herbert or
I get it. Yeah,
I'm a big Herbert
guy.
I
agree.
I like Herbert. And I think he fits with you guys very nicely. So I hope you get him, because that would mean you guys probably trade up to 4.
Yeah.
So hopefully you get him.
And I hope y'all have a good season. All jokes aside, I'm actually not a Giants hater. Most people think I am, but I have there's a place in my heart for y'all. So. I hope y'all have a good season next year. So, I think if the NFL is good, when teams like the Giants, the Bears, and all these other teams are really good, I don't know why, but there's sort of a feeling, when these teams are good. And the Chargers, of course, because the Chargers are, they're my team. So, I just, best luck with y'all. So, that's it. There's not nothing else to say.
I always appreciate
Except for Alabama. One thing about Alabama, I think everybody should move to Alabama.
Oh,
it's going to be a country, okay? It's going to be a country one day. It's going to separate from the United States. It's going to be one of the greatest lands to live on Earth, even though I'm a Martian. I'm actually from Mars.
Oh, God. All right, Sonor's going off the rails. This is why we call Sonor. This is why we call Sonor the Looney Tune. But always appreciate when... Always appreciate when Sonor calls in, man. Thanks for the love, buddy.
All right. Peace out, father.
Have a good one, my man. That was the special teams analyst, Chris Sonor, on the line. And what's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in.
What's going on, Tina?
What's going on? Oh, God. Brandon Rogers. Well. What's going on, buddy?
What's going on, Tina? How you been, man?
Good to hear you, man. What would you want to talk about, buddy?
Well, I just wanted to ask you a few questions, but I just wanted to say this about the NFC East. I think if that gets paid, the Cowboys, I think, obviously will win the division. I just think the way the Eagles are going, I think the Cowboys are the clear cut to win the NFC East. I really like.
No, I mean I think that's fair. I mean, I think that's fair. I'm not trying to jump the gun. I'm not trying to say that the Giants are the favorites or anything like that. I think the Giants are building.
Oh yeah.
I think the Giants are building properly. I think they could. Anything could happen in football. But I think 2021 is where I think the Giants are going to be in a prime position to try to take this division. But going into next year, I think you got to say that the Cowboys or the Eagles are the favorite right now, at least.
Yeah. And then I want to ask you this. I got two questions for you. I want to ask, who do you think is the most overrated quarterback?
Wow. Yeah, let me think. Okay, let me go. Let me go down the teams here. For Jimmy Garoppolo's up there for me.
Okay.
I think people jumped the gun on him a little bit. I'm trying to think of who else. See, I wouldn't say Jared Goff's overrated anymore. I think everybody's down on him. I'll go Jimmy Garoppolo. That's the first name that popped in my head. I'm sticking with it. Jimmy Garoppolo.
Wow, okay. I'm actually thinking of a guy like Matt Stafford or Matt Ryan, actually.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, I don't know how highly rated they are at this point in time, but I'm not a huge fan of either one of those guys.
Yeah, and I think with the way, like to your point about Jimmy G, I mean, he didn't do a lot in the postseason, so I mean, I can see where you're coming from on that, and he's benefited from two great systems with Belichick and Shanahan. So I'll definitely agree with you on that. And then one last, I'll tell you this. Here's the thing with Seattle. I'm all in on Byron Jones and Clowney. I want Byron Jones so bad, like you don't even know.
See, like, I like Byron Jones. He's a good player, but here's the thing, man. Byron Jones is gonna get paid. The cornerback market in free agency this year is incredibly thin. He's far and away the best one. If you're bringing in Byron Jones, you're paying for him. And I don't think he's worth it. I don't think he's worth what he's going to command in free agency. But he's a good player.
Well, and I'm also looking at Austin Hooper or Hunter Henry because we need a tight end because Will Dissly can't stay healthy. I'd rather have Austin Hooper.
Austin Hooper's a good player. Austin Hooper's a good player.
And I think he's like Jimmy Graham type money where he's getting $10 million a year, even though Jimmy Graham can't produce. But Hunter Henry's a solid option too. But
I don't know your cap situation, but I know. I mean, if you guys are keeping Clowney, which I mean, who knows if you are, you guys paid a lot to Wilson last year. So I don't know how much cap you guys. How much cap do you guys have? If you keep Clowney, how much cap?
I think we have around 50, if I'm remembering correctly. I know it's around there, maybe upper 50s.
If you keep Clowney,
I know it's in the 50 range.
Okay. Maybe you will go after one of those guys. We'll see.
But I'm just, and then my last question for you: where do you think Phillip Rivers and Tom Brady go?
What do you mean? What teams? I think Brady stays where he is at the end of the day. But if he's somebody asked me this earlier, if he does leave, I would say West Coast. I would say Raiders or Chargers. But at the end of the day, I think he stays where he is. Rivers, I think the Bucs make a lot of sense. He just moved to Florida, and obviously a lot of that's going to be dependent on whether or not Jameis Winston stays there. And Rivers could certainly retire as well. But I also think the Colts are very much in play for Rivers. They've said that
I actually have Rivers going to the Colts.
Yeah, I think the Colts. I think the Colts make the most sense. I think if you ask me right now, I would say Winston probably gets franchised. I don't think they give him a long-term extension, but I think they franchise him. And there's no real ties to Brissett, and they're kind of picking later in the draft. They said they need a quarterback. I think Rivers is a perfect bridge guy for them. They're kind of a win-now team. They've got the foundation with the offensive line. They were Super Bowl favorites by many before the year started, before Andrew Luck, unexpectedly retired. So I do think the Colts make the most sense for Rivers.
And then one more thing, I think Dak gets paid around the 30 $8 million range.
That's
I think he gets more than
insane.
Wilson.
That's insane.
I think. No, here's the thing. I think Dak is gonna. I don't know. There's just something I think about that. Jerry's just gonna overpay him.
Please! I hope they give him $100 million. Dak Prescott. If they think they're gonna win long term, paying Dak Prescott $38 million, they are out of their mind, and I hope they do. Please pay him $38 million. Please.
Here's my theory behind it, Chris. Here's my theory. I think with the way that he's been off the field issues, Dak's been clean. I think that Dak gets paid more than Russell, more than Rodgers. I think that Jerry's going to buy it, and I think McCarthy wants his guy. I think McCarthy really wants Dak. So I think Dak gets paid around the $36-38 million range. I really do.
I hope they give him. I hope they give him $1 billion. But Dak Prescott. My theory on Dak Prescott is this: you've got a guy that came into. He literally was handed the keys to a Corvette. He had everything you need. He had the running back. He had the offensive line. He had the defense. Once he gets paid $38 million or whatever he's going to get paid, that Corvette becomes a Jeep Cherokee. And we'll see how he's able to drive a Jeep Cherokee, because anybody could drive a Corvette. I don't necessarily know if he's the man that could drive a Jeep Cherokee at the quarterback position. That's my take on Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm gonna be high on the Cowboys coming in next season because
for 1 year I could see it.
This past season.
Yeah, 1 year I could see it. Long term, it's not going to work paying Dak that much money, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I do see the franchise tag possibly, and maybe re-signing Byron Jones. You never know on that, but I think, Dak, he's a tricky situation, but I appreciate you taking my call for sure.
You got it, buddy, man. Brandon,
I'll talk to you later.
Always appreciate you calling in, man. Good call, buddy. That was Brandon Rogers. It's late. I'll probably take one more call, and then we're probably going to call it a night. We went on. There we go. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in. Who's this? Hello? And you're gone. What's going on? You're on live. Thank you for calling in. Hello? You're on live. Thank you for calling in. Okay. All right. Little stage fright at the end of the show. It happens. Was that Williams' touchdown, a touchdown in the Super Bowl? I think it wasn't. I think Sherman made a hell of a throw. But, guys, seems like it's winding down. It's late. It's 11:32. We went 3 hours tonight. I wanted to go to 11. We gave you an extra half hour. I had a lot of fun. Like I said, these are going to be a lot more regular as it starts to heat up as we get closer to free agency. We get closer to the draft. Yeah, man, I love doing the call-in shows. Love doing the Q&As. I'll probably be doing both. I think Q&As are, fun for people who don't want to call in and, they have questions. So I like to do both. So as we get closer to free agency and the draft, we'll, I'll probably do one each. One early in the week, one at the end of the week. So I'll get a set day, and just want to say, this is the third time this stage fright person has called me. I'm going to give him one more try. You're on live. Thank you for calling in. That's it. I guess that's it. But thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. You guys are the best. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have a good night, guys.